was there really any kind of significant celebration on the right of them dying?
No, we said throw them in the wood chipper.
I don't know if there was a celebration, but like Donald Trump.
Was there TikToks of people dancing?
This is the issue. We're asking like Twitter liberals on Blue Sky to change their behavior, but then like we make all these excuses for like Trump, who is president of the United States.
And then there's no evidence that there's any trans motivation, and then it turns out, oh, this guy's actually dating a trans individual, and there are people like on the right who say, where's the right's apology for this? When it's like, okay, yeah, the guy wasn't trans, but he was dating a trans individual. Would you and I agree that's like a 1 degree separation? It's kind of like ticky-tack, like.
Sure, yeah, the right doesn't get an apology when after every single attack ever, they conspiratize about how it's all the left's fault and how it's all trans ideology and how it's all because people don't have a family unit and don't have a Christian, and then one out of every 100 times they turn out to be 50% right. No, you don't get an apology for that.
That's I think the fact that you're conflating Jews in general with a genocidal ethno-state is pretty anti-Semitic in itself.
It's the same fundamental language as Hitler, and when people claim these things like what I've heard on this panel already today. So it is Nazi rhetoric, whether you like it or not. That is actual Nazi rhetoric.
Folks, liking and subscribing really helps me continue to produce content and is greatly appreciated. You can also make sure to check out my Discord server in the description below, where you can also find my Twitch, my Kick, and my Twitter.
All right, so I wrote down an intro. I'm going to speak quickly because it's a little bit longer.
Four times speed.
Yeah, I'm going to try to talk as fast as I can in 4 times speed. It's unfortunately how I think now. 5 main points. The first point, this is by the way, like really the first time I'm really like talking about this. I did have like a brief conversation on Wix channel, but so I just have to get some thoughts out of the way first. Just been rant a little bit about what I've been saying. Number 1, murder of Charlie Kirk was horrific and inexcusable. He was trying to share his opinions like all of us here are trying to do and will try to do during this panel. He was assassinated in cold blood. Absolutely reprehensible. Number 2, the killer was indeed a left-winger. However, far more importantly, the general left-wing response has been disproportionately horrific. Mocking, insulting, celebrating, and misrepresenting. A lot of them will be awful and hide behind cheap whataboutisms to justify their evil. Not all lefties. Some of them have been surprisingly refreshing. I was actually kind of blown away by how human at least Hassan's initial response was. I haven't seen anything beyond that. But there still is too many horrific videos out there about the reaction here. Number 3, these cheap whataboutisms aren't even solid. I am going to argue during this panel that the left wing spreads dangerous misinformation that overall leads to more unlawful violence than the right does, and the left does not play nice like the defenders of the left argue that they do, even beyond the absolute unhinged terrorist adjacent shit that Destiny's been saying lately. The left at large seems to be suffering from some collective amnesia about the BLM days. Because of this, well, we're just doing it back is flawed from the start, and it is informed by partisan propaganda. It is unjustified. 4, under the same standard that Trump incited an insurrection, the Democrats incited the murder of Charlie Kirk. For many lefties, fight like hell was sufficient to be considered incitement in the context of widespread mistaken election claims. Just for one example, the Unfuck America campaign, partnering with major left-wing streamers that we know, had Take the Fight to Charlie Kirk on their main website in the context of mistaken racism and Nazi claims, including on their website. Fight like hell apparently is incitement, but taking the fight to is not. If you want to say neither of them are incitement, that's fine, but just pointing out the double standard. Finally, in very direct response to the prompt, the Civil War rhetoric is dumb. Trump needs to calm down the shit that he says. I have never been inconsistent in saying this. I never have made fun of or talked good about the Pelosi situation with the hammer. I also never talked good or spoke well of the assassination of the Democrat senators in Minnesota. Trump also condemned that violence, which is good. I think some of the rhetoric right now coming out of the right is problematic as well. We need to stay peaceful and destroy these losers with ideas. No vengeance. Vengeance is bad.
And just quickly before we go to Gibbs, just so people don't remember the Pelosi situation, our friend Latchford brought up, it's when a unhinged individual showed up at her house with a hammer and I think like zip ties or something, right? But in any case, he he was attending to like accost Nancy Pelosi. She wasn't there. Her husband was there, and he attacked him and beat him over the head. He suffered severe injuries. Luckily, he survived, and the man was, caught. But after that, there was a lot of ridicule from the right about that particular incident. I don't want to go too deep into it and like put my opinion on the whole thing, but like it was like the response was quite varied to that particular act of political violence. But I'll leave it there. Let's go to our friend Gibbs.
Yeah, I tell you what, I initially on the day of, I was much more in the let's talk about it things. We need to be cooler heads, But I over the next few days, I've gotten more and more angry, and it's not because of what the right is doing. It's what people on the left are doing. This is like one of those times where even people I thought were like, I don't know, like the reasonable ones, right? Have I done something that I think is a little bit sick? I'm really sick of the perfidious, duplicitous, and dishonest nature of this 1 degree of separation game that so many people are playing in like this moderate space, right? The idea that, I can say XYZ and leave the last part unsaid. Like just this week, I've came at several other streamers because they'll say, we need to wait. We don't know what this person is. The media is doing it. See, MSNBC or CNN just said something. This guy could be a groiper. It could be a right winger. And they ran with this, where there's been no indication. And all the indication has been, we know the motive. They're left leaning. Their family said they were left leaning. Their friends said they were left leaning. There's this trans ideology aspect to this. There's the all sorts of other things that we know for a fact. These are facts that we've been given to us by the law enforcement. We know for a fact that he wrote these Bella Ciao, which is the anti-fascist movement symbol thing on there. We know the uwu bulge thing. That's a furry thing. We know this person is and has been confirmed by the neighbor that have been seen making out with their transgender furry roommate, which, it's crazy because this is the sad part about this. This person actually has worked with law enforcement, and now they're getting hate. We know that Discord has lied. We actually have a confirmed that he confessed in a Discord about it, and Discord said there was no evidence. So now we have more, I don't want to go with conspiracy, but it seems like Discord covered it up, and they don't want this associated with him, and that's bad. That's its own separate issue. But the idea that these are not a left leaner, and the fact that people push this idea we don't know the motive, which is part of even the premise tonight, I reject wholeheartedly. We knew the motive almost immediately when it happened. All the evidence pointed to it. People were jumping in joy. Some were claiming to have been the shooter. Honestly, these people should all be tried with the individual that confessed that we're killing with this man as accessories to the murder, because they made the manhunt harder by being fake confessors. All this is evil. Destiny has called for the death of streamers, saying conservatives should not be allowed to go or should be shot before they go to places in order to silence them. That's their goal, to silence conservative voices, because they've lost the debate. And so now they have to silence us in order to win. It's disgusting. It's just and I'm just really sick of it. And this idea that just, I can say all these things and then be like, well, I didn't use the exact term groiper or whatever. And their whole audience goes on the chat and just co-signs the unsaid part. They're like, well, I had nothing to do with it. It's disgusting. You know what you're doing when you do this. And you can, just because you can have the one little backdoor out saying, I didn't use the one specific word, doesn't mean you're not just as guilty. And it's really gross behavior. And I think that this really was exemplified last Saturday when I went on a show and I went through my DMs and I went through other appearances and I took all the things from left-leaning people have said about me in chat, and I inserted these people's names there, and they said, oh my God, your rhetoric is so incendiary. Oh my God, your rhetoric is going to cause violence. And I said, so then you, as a left-leaning individual, admit to knowing, this is to a Democratic senatorial candidate in Florida, I said this, you'll admit to knowing that this is loaded language that you're using, and when it's returned on you, it's a problem. So, this is something moderates have said. This is all sorts of shit, and only then is the problem when the right plays this game. And I think it's time maybe we either, because it seems like playing the nice guy hasn't worked, and now Maybe we just have to give them a taste of our own medicine so that they feel like how terrible this language is before they realize that something else is going to happen. And we do need to tone it down because clearly the most reasonable voices in the room are actually duplicitous liars 90% of the time.
Okay. We'll have fun with that later on. But thank you, friend.
Whatever that was.
Let's go to our friend Cory.
I'll probably keep this short. But you can find my Twitch, Cory Cambell 84, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram, Substack is Cory Cambell. I suspect that this conversation is not going to be all that productive, but I hope to be proven wrong. The only thing that I'll say is to answer the prompt.
Yeah, Lactoid.
Do I think that Trump is going to lead us out of this and actually call for you? I don't think so. I think he's a poor leader. And I do agree with the sentiment that he's just, contributing to fueling the fire, so to speak. The only thing that I'll point out, sort of, I guess, to close out is, Lactoid, okay, despite everything that he said in terms of he criticized Trump, but he still voted for him, okay? And as far as I can tell, I don't think he regrets his vote. He's still sticking to it. And this is in the vein of the right wants to take, or wants to talk about, let's say, accountability, potentially. I think the left shouldn't take accountability for all their violence, which does exist, when the right actually takes accountability for everything that they do, which includes January 6th, which Trump still pardoned them, and he is rewarded for that, okay? Lactoid still voted for him, Gibbs still voted for him, and they're sticking by their vote. So what do you do when you're actually incentivized to in that way, and you're not actually held accountable? People still vote for you. I don't know what to do about that, but I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. Dooby.
I think that both sides are being dishonest about how they've contributed to the escalation of the language and the violence. I was watching that Piers Morgan thing earlier, right? With Destiny and Anna Kasparian, Andrew Wilson, Jack Prosobiec is fucking drunk. All these people, right? Even Cornel West, who I fucking love. Okay, I love Cornel West. But even he was, I think, being dishonest, right? And I've seen this over and over again, where the left says, "Oh, it's the right that's been, using this crazy, violent rhetoric, calling us Nazis and yada yada," and the right says, the left says that the right's been saying all this kind of crazy shit about the trans, and they're calling them demonic, satanic pedophiles and shit like this, and the right says, "Well, you guys have been calling us Nazis," but I think that the reality is both sides have been doing this for fucking ever, and it's not even a recent thing. It's not even a Trump thing. When Mitt Romney was running for president, Biden was saying that he was going to put black people back in chains. He was saying that's what he wanted to do, right? So this kind of hyperbolic bullshit, right, to smear the other side has just been common in American politics for fucking ever. I think people need to stop pretending that it isn't common. I think people also need to stop pretending that the other side is entirely at fault, right? And I think that this idea that if we're going to bring down the violent rhetoric or whatever the fuck, we need to wait for the president to do it first. We need to wait for the right, quote unquote, right, whoever the representative of the right is right now, to do it first. I think it's just childish. I think both sides need to stop the escalation. However, I think there are some things that are true that you actually just can't talk about without there being an implicit call to some kind of action, i.e., Trump being a fascist. I think he's a sort of proto-fascist. And I think that Trump has been doing things recently that are direct attacks on fundamental aspects of American values and American freedom, right? So him attacking those things and then people supporting him as he's attacking those things, right? I think at some point you do need to say, hey, that is bad. I need to call that out. And if calling that out makes some people angry enough that they use violence, well, that's on them. That's not on me for just calling the thing out. If you don't want people calling you a fucking fascist, don't do fascist things. It's that simple. I don't know. I think it's much more. I feel like there's an implication that a lot of these insults or these things are just empty. They're fake, and they're just you're just smearing the other side. But I think on both sides there's some truth there, right? In the criticisms, in the allegations being made, and I think those things need to be addressed in a real way before we can move away from any kind of tension or violence.
Okay, let's go to, sorry, I'm not even looking at the screen. 1 second. Ali.
Yes, I agree with Dooby this whole the left is doing it first, the right is doing it first, the right is doing it. It's just so it's pathetic and like childish. But so I agree with Dooby. But in terms of like, do I think Trump is the man to lead the nation? Yeah, right. Not in a way that I want to. Not that I think he should be leading the nation, but like this is what the people want. The people want him, right? I know this is a sad time, but you know, the fringes on either side, right, especially on the right, they got their martyr. They get to kind of unleash and go unhinged. And I mean, yeah, this is what they voted for. This is what they want. Should he lead the nation? No, I don't think so. But is he the man to lead the nation? Yeah, this is what the people want. I don't see I don't see anything coming down any soon. I see the rhetoric's only going to ramp up, right? I see more of this political violence. I don't think it's good. I don't think you should be shot for saying words. But to Dewey's point, right? If people are going to ramp up their rhetoric and, you know, say some fascisty or Nazi or like racist, like extreme racist rhetoric, whatever it may be, and then people are going to call it out and something violent happens, it can't be the fault of the people who call it out, right? It has to be to some extent, you know, we're going to have to look at gun laws. We're going to have to look at mental health crisis in this country, or like where people are at, and then like plus the rhetoric that's happening. So yeah.
Okay, let's go to our friend, a newer friend, Nonfon.
Yeah, first of all, I condemn all violence coming from the furry community, okay? The very violent furry community that's attacked us. But, I mean, I think it's relevant that, like, on a lot of sort of like 80-20 issues, Democrats are like end up taking like the 20% side because they're trying to appeal to the people to the more left of the party. There's like two issues they don't do that with, and that's Israel and political violence. It looks like every single elected Democrat, I think, has taken basically the right line on the issue. They've immediately come out and condemned it, and they're apologizing and blah, 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 blah. I don't think you see people on the certainly not most elected Republicans even now on the right doing things that I think are comparable to that. And I don't think Donald Trump himself has done anything remotely to heal the nation or whatever. And I think he probably will end up using this as an excuse to try to crack down more on universities because he already does not particularly like them.
Okay. So before we get started, I just wanted to read that super chat, which I didn't forget, right? And our friend Ali, I guess, wants to go after that. So the super chat from our friend Lawson Harrison says, why should we care about what an I can put it up on screen. I forgot about that. Why should we care about what an ex-reality TV star says days when the president of DGG can't even denounce violence? So I guess we could talk about this first. And again, thank you to the $10 lost, and thanks for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, great way to do it is through super chats. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PrimeCayes, in case you haven't done so already. Join our YouTube community and consider supporting the channel. The super chats will react to the super chats. All right. But going off of this, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay, great. Well, then we can. I'll just give a little bit of intro from what I've seen, and I've seen a lot less than I'm sure the rest of you have on Destiny's comments, like much less, and that's the way I like it. But Destiny seems to be taking quite an extreme stance on this, and not. It seems like, unless my understanding is incorrect, that he's not just denouncing violence, that he's like saying that, well, maybe even encouraging it. Now, if I have that wrong, other people can correct me on that. But he doesn't seem to think this is a bad thing, from my understanding, and doesn't seem to think that we shouldn't be celebrating the death of Kirk, like actively celebrating rather than just like discussing it or whatever, discussing his politics. Yeah, like I think that I think this is an interesting moment for the left to grapple with, as to like where do we want to stand on these things. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be like lecturing people on how they should react, because I think that's bullshit. Lactoid tried to lecture me last week about that. But I'm not going to be lecturing people on their stances, how they should feel. because I actually care about
Or
freedom.
react or joke about.
Um,
I thought comedy was legal now. That's what I got.
I
that
thought
message from
comedy
Elon
was
Musk.
legal too. I thought comedy was legal. But apparently I was wrong. But yeah, but I actually believe in freedom, so I'm not going to lecture people about that. But like, if there's, okay, I don't want to say anything that's a little slanderous. So I don't know if Destiny has made an explicit call to violence. Be very clear about that. Because Lacto is also my lawyer, the person I just insulted. So I don't want to do that. But in any case, I think this moment is actually quite instructive as to.
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about.
I can give you the statement. Can I quickly just give you
the one
like
degree, the 1 degree of
statement?
separation thing, though, is
Okay,
kind of what I'm
sure.
talking about. Prime. I think you're kind of touching on that. It's like he didn't explicitly say it, but it's like, okay, you said it, you know, like, or you like did something, and you're like, oh, I didn't say that it was a right winger, furry or a right winger groiper that killed him, but then it's like you set everything up for your audience to do it, not you, but like I'm talking the metaphorical.
Yeah.
Like I've seen multiple people do this where they do it and then they don't ever use the exact word, and then it's like they have like, oh, well, I'm just waiting for something to come out. Like, come on, bro, you're being dishonest when you do this. You know what you're doing. Like there's several people that are doing this. And I don't know. I'm sorry.
So the thing that he said was right wingers have to be, or conservatives. It's gonna be slightly paraphrased, but need to be afraid to go to public events. Should be afraid to go to public events for like fear of being killed, so that they pressure their leaders to tone the temperature down. That was the statement. Like they should be afraid to go out in public and go to these events.
I think that statement is irresponsible considering the size of Destiny's audience that he has. Like, if you're a big streamer in general, you should be careful about what you say because you're always going to have crazy fucking people in your audience. But I think it's a general point there, which I probably would not go as far as Destiny, to be clear, is that like when Democrats come out and repeatedly apologize constantly and condemn all the violence when the right doesn't seem to do the same, Republicans have no incentive to sort of to pressure their leaders to try to tone the temperature down, and that's why Trump feels perfectly okay not saying anything about this, or not taking serious steps to actually try to unite the nation. I would say. Let's
let Ali in.
So Trump might be like a unique case, but like with Destiny trying to get the president to bring the temperature down, do we think that like politicians hold more influence than like streamers or influencers?
I think the president does. Yeah.
I think politicians do in general, and I'll tell you why. It's because they're the leaders of the party. They're the ones actually either like implementing the law, and a lot of times, even if they have like super PACs or they have organizations around them, or even like the Nonfon, all of that all trickles down from them. So streamers, when they're advocating for a stance, like I'll say Hassan's kind of like an odd one because he's like kind of like anti-American in some ways. So like he might even be a little more whatever. But even then, like Destiny, for example, is like kind of trickled down from the dim leadership because he's gonna use their stances and he's gonna push their policies. So yes, they are the more influential, I think.
Except in this moment right now, where all of the Dems are essentially denouncing, and he's kind of like saying it's cocked, right?
Well, I think
in terms of like the politicians, right? The politicians have denounced because that's what they're going to do, right? And I'm saying in terms of like how people are going to react to this.
Well, the only people they're denouncing are because of what's happening. Like their press secretary people are telling them, oh, you got to do this because it's a bad look. But despite we have them on clips saying all this violent rhetoric in the past,
so
and
like
Ilya Omar just got stripped of committee seats for her awful reaction to the Kirk death. So
it's not like all leadership is not when something happens like a death on the left or like a murder or whatever. Like it's not like the right's rhetoric is like peaceful and kind and like wishes and so on and so forth. They kind of go crazy as well, right? It's just that this was a political death, so it's like you guys feel like it's different in that.
Sure. Okay. I wish there was a better way to quantify this, but certainly, it feels like sort of the politicians on the right are able to set the culture for the Republican Party and for the right more generally a lot better than politicians on the left.
Well, because the right is more unified in what they want and who they voted for.
I don't even know. I think they're more unified in who they voted for. Yeah. But I'm saying it feels like Trump is able to make issues out of things that the right never like considered an issue before. And Democrats, I think, struggle to do that a lot more. And that's, relevant when I think Trump could certainly, if he made it political violence on the right an issue at all, instead of essentially tacitly supporting some of it at the very least, especially like the January 6th pardons, for example.
He's not going to because he doesn't support that, right? He kind of like this stirrup is good for him, right? It only riles up his base.
Well, yeah.
guys. Yeah, so like, yeah, so he's not going to tone down the rhetoric.
Well, yeah, because he's an egotistical maniac. Yeah, I agree. He's not
So
like
I'm
I
curious
agree.
about.
He's not going to, but I think Trump is in a position where if he made it an issue, a lot of MAGA Republicans would essentially listen to him. I think the right is a lot better able to control that. And as I mentioned, like even my opening, feels like Democrats struggle to do that.
I think they'd see through the PR and kind of do what they're doing anyways.
I don't know if
Dooby?
that's
Okay, so I'm curious, Lactoid and Gibbs, right? So my feeling about Trump is that he is basically like a proto-fascist. I don't think he actually has an ideology, really, but I think what he's done, right, and the kind of his bent, right, the way that he leads and the way that he tries to get things done, I would feel comfortable calling him like a proto-fascist, right? And I think that he's done things that are fun or attempted to do things that are fundamentally at odds with American values, right? So, for example, this push that he tried to like ban flag burning, right, or to punish flag burning, right, using fighting words laws or whatever the fuck. I think just the president doing something like that, pushing something like that, right, that we're going to punish people for burning the American flag, it to me feels totally like antithetical to like Americanism, right? Like one of the great things about our country, one of the ways that we sell our country when we're talking about it is, hey, in our country we can criticize the government. In our country we can say fuck you government, and they can't do shit to us, right? They won't they can't put us in a cage for it. Whereas other shitholes, if you criticize the government, if you burn a flag, they're gonna throw you in a fucking cage and beat the fuck out of you, right? So the fact that he even like tried to touch that, right, even if he's not successful, that he like pushed in that direction, to me is like fucking egregious, right? So like how do you like and to me that would be enough. That right there is enough that like I can imagine somebody being upset enough about that to do something crazy, right? If not to Trump, then to somebody supporting Trump as he's doing these things. But then that's not even the like he was talking about like, denaturalizing citizens, right? Like denaturalizing them and deporting them for criticizing Israel, right? Like crazy shit like this, right? That I think is like bad enough that if you just talk about it honestly, people are going to get angry and they might want to take some kind of violent action, if not against Trump, then against people who support Trump. And Charlie Kirk was one of the primary people driving the youth vote to Trump, right? And Charlie Kirk has his own fucking issues. He's like a Christian nationalist, right? Which is its own like bag of shit. So like, how do you talk about this stuff without like there being some kind of implicit call to action or avoiding language that might cause somebody to take some kind of violent action, because the actions themselves are bad enough that some people might want to take action. Like it just, I don't know how you like detach those things or you even talk about them.
Well, I'll go first if you want, Lactoid. I do agree with you that the concern for right-wing authoritarianism is something that people should be concerned about, especially since, like, I know you just kind of framed as Charlie Kirk is white like a white Christian nationalist or something, right? But
no, I don't think he's a racist. I think he's a Christian
okay,
nationalist.
yeah, Christian nationalist, fine. Yeah, my bad. That's I don't necessarily have a problem with someone classifying as that. And I know that some people are going to disagree with what I'm about to say next, which is that Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, was somebody more moderate on the right. Like he's in the center, like right. He's not as far extreme.
No.
Hold on. Yeah, I know
No.
y'all are going to disagree. Hold on. And this is what's crazy is y'all are all saying this. And so like us, most of us on the right, we all are like, yeah, he was a fairly moderate milquetoast guy, didn't have any convictions or anything, all this stuff. He was a good youth leader. And then y'all are already, just here on this panel, just with the laughs, already painting him as some extremist, right? And so when y'all are going, oh, hey, yeah, I'm worried that, there's going to be more authoritarian Trump. Yeah, I think that is a real concern. Because now you have people like Milo unretiring. You have people that are way more extreme now going to be having a bigger voice. I saw a Rumble that Nick Fuentes outperformed Kai during his Marathon 3 thing going on right now, or Mafiathon 3 thing going on right now, which is crazy. That Nick Fuentes just had pulled those, and it's because of the Charlie Kirk. And like you're going and you've killed this guy that most of the right think is moderate, and especially Christians who think he's a moderate Christian guy. And y'all are going, oh, these are the radicals. And then you're like, well, we don't want the authoritarian to rise. Well, guess what? That's how you get somebody authoritarian, because you kill the guy that's in the middle, and then all the really extreme guys are the ones who are going to be not afraid to speak because they push extremist views. And I think that is a concern. However, that being said, I think another thing that's happened on the right is all the right-leaning factions have basically unified. Like I've never seen like I don't have the urge to go after like Andrew Wilson right now for some of his shit takes on like feminism or something. Like I don't or it's men's fault, women's fault, or dating stuff. I have zero desire to do that right now because there's a bigger problem. The left is fucking killing our people. That's what it is. They're killing it with the policy. They're killing it. They're literally killing them with like Charlie Kirk. They tried to kill the president twice, and then they try to do this dishonest framing, like, oh yeah, this guy was a right leader, even though he like donated money to Biden. All this other bullshit. Like we know the games, we've seen the games, we're sick of the games, and now y'all are terrified because y'all created a martyr.
I don't think anyone ever argued that this was effective political strategy. I obviously don't think like the left should not support this because it makes the left weaker. I don't think anyone ever said otherwise, Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm not saying that
I can
he
respond.
should have been shot. Okay, like to be clear, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
I know you're not saying that.
yeah. So just to like give you like something direct. So the Piers Morgan panel that I saw earlier, Andrew Wilson and Jack Posobiec, like one of the things that they were talking about is being called a fascist by people on the left, and they were saying this as if it was like ridiculous and you're like smearing us by calling us fascists. But I mean, if they were supporting a guy who is doing fascist things, like what else are you supposed to call him and them? You know what I mean? Like if that's a smear, and the smear is just accurately describing your actions or the actions of the guy that you support, like how the fuck do we even communicate with you or about you?
I mean, you say that though, right? And like I listen, I know Lactoid's gonna be sympathetic to this because he's a libertarian. He doesn't want authoritarian. He doesn't want to do that. I'm a Texan, and we don't trust big government. I've said this about Doge. If it's a tool used correctly, great. However, I'm worried that like the left is going to take over and turn it into something, that it wasn't intended or make it expand the power. I like worry about big government. I worry about authoritarian government. I also agree with
They're
you.
not banning lab-grown meat, right? That's big
Hold on.
government.
Well, hey, shh.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No
Hold on,
accountability. No
I mean, there's
accountability.
no. Hold on. I absolutely think there's needs for regulations. I'm not a libertarian. Like, I definitely think there's reasons why we should do it. Lab-grown meat's another leftist plot to weaken America. We don't have to go into all that right now, but that's fine. We're going to sit here and, like, with Dooby, yeah, I definitely get the concern, and, yeah, I can see why you want to argue this, but you could say someone's authoritarian. Like, if I call, like, Trump a populist authoritarian, that's not the same as me using the buzzword and calling him, Mussolini incarnate. Like that, like, he's a fascist. He's basically Mussolini. He's a Nazi. He's basically Hitler. That's loaded language, and you can talk about this in a way that's not like that. But y'all aren't doing that. And then this is the biggest thing: is the other thing that's happening is if I comment on left policies and y'all don't like my framing, like I'm gonna give you a list, right? If I said the left stands for open borders, open crime, free crime everywhere, and critical race theory, and they want to put transgender people into women's sports. You would say, I've literally heard this week from a person running for office in the Senate in Florida. They told me that was dishonest framing and that was incendiary language, even though that's actually can be tied directly to policy. And that's much less incendiary than me calling somebody a fascist.
So
I'd like to respond.
Lactoid, and then our friend Cory, and then Ali.
Yeah, I just wholeheartedly reject this characterization of Trump as a fascist or a proto-fascist. I think that it's myopic. I think that when you look, you have to compare Trump, if we're going to talk about whether he represents some kind of new threat, some kind of proto-fascist, you would have to compare Trump to presidents past, right? So you look at Donald Trump and compare him to, let's say, somebody like George W. Bush, right? What's more fascist, right? What about starting $2 trillion wars leading to shit tons of death, and also launching the PRISM program that is illegally spying on millions of Americans? And then when the person who calls the alarm on that, he puts out information exposing the government for spying on its civilians and its citizens illegally, then all of a sudden he gets a bunch of flack and has to leave the country and is continued to be sort of this target by the establishment, both on the Republicans and the Democrats, but the establishment. Well, that was George Bush. To me, that's infinitely more fascist than what Donald Trump has done.
But can't there be more than one fascist?
Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Look, if you categorize most American presidents as fascists, then maybe you have a point. Okay, what I'm saying is that if you characterize like George Bush as a fascist for that, if you characterize Obama drone bombing U.S. civilians, you consider him a fascist. If you consider Biden a fascist, you're trying to get OSHA to illegally force. Maybe you do, Prime. Okay,
yeah.
But for most other people, okay, sure. Most other people, though, right, trying to through executive fiat push OSHA to force millions of vaccines in executive order, which was not the full scale, was not the scope of OSHA. We know that, trying to extend beyond what the legislation allows them to do. Arguing for, potentially packing the court, and the Kamala, of course, having history of actually arguing to pack the court. I mean, we had, I think the closest peer person you could probably argue with it was a fascist. And even this is like, I don't really feel, super comfortable saying he's a fascist, but he is the closest by far. And this is FDR, right? The left's kind of sweetheart, the guy who put Japanese people in camps. This is the closest we get, right, to fascist. And this is nothing like Trump, right?
People in camps now.
No, like putting people in camps because of their race, because specifically targeting them, because that was not targeting people because they were Hispanic. This is targeting people because they're in the country illegally.
Where like the government fought against a restriction that would say you couldn't target people for their ethnicity.
No,
right?
So no. There's nuance to that. What that Supreme Court, and by the way, the Supreme Court ruled in Trump's favor on that, was that you can use a multiple of factors to investigate whether or not somebody is an illegal immigrant. And one factor you can use to investigate whether they are an illegal immigrant, which is the thing that's being targeted, is their race or ethnicity. Because people coming up, because people come,
you look Hispanic,
because the
right?
this is wholly different. This is wholly different than the internment camps.
So exactly
this is wholly different. This is wholly different from the internment camps. The target with the with immigration enforcement is targeting people who are breaking the law of the country, whether you agree with that law or not. When it comes to the Prime, when it comes to Prime, let me finish, please.
We're like,
no, they didn't break any law.
Right?
No, they didn't break any law. They didn't break any law. Prime.
The law says they need to be in an internment camp. If you're outside the internment camp, you'd be
breaking the law. That's not what the law. No, that's not what the law said. Those were military orders to put them in camps. The law did not allow for that. Right? It was only afterwards the Supreme Court kind of semi-justified it, and then has since the government walked it back. Right? That was the closest we got to fascism. Arresting people for illegal immigration is not that. Flag burning, I criticized that immediately when that was proposed. Flag burning has also been, I think by the late 80s, most states had flag burning legislation. There's been multiple attempts on the federal level to ban flag burning. If all those governments were also fascist, then sure, right? It's not good, but this argument that, hey, president is doing kind of authoritarian thing that I don't like, right? Therefore, he is fascist. When you compare, this president, you can point to plenty of things that he's doing that's not fascist, right? Like, you really thought a Republican would be on board with gay marriage coming in 2016? This has been like,
what is this argument? What is this awful argument? This is an awful argument. Hey,
is it an awful argument? Two wars, the prison program.
I'm not going to tell you exactly.
Hold on.
Was okay? You think Biden was a fascist? Was Bush a fascist?
Bush had a lot of fun. It actually goes straight to my point, right? Hey, guy. First of all, why would I have any problem calling Bush a fascist? Like, I don't know.
Do you think he's a fascist?
Yeah, what did I just say? Why would I have any problem doing that? Hold on.
Was Obama a fascist?
Yeah, Obama is a war criminal. I'm not sure if a fascist, but
him and Fabian agree on all these things.
But 1 second. Yeah, you.
I could have told you he was going to say this.
Who do you think you're talking to here, right? I trashed all of these people, right? Biden, genocidal maniac, deserves to be in the Hague, right? Zionist, and Zionism is fascism, is Jewish fascism, and he is a pro-Zionist to his core. So yeah, he's a fucking fascist. I have no problem saying that, right? With Obama, he did the drone strikes, which I think was illegal. I don't know if I would necessarily call that fascism.
Funded fascists in Ukraine.
Sorry, what did you do in Ukraine?
Funded fascists, right? This was the 2014-15 was at the height of the Azov Battalion.
I'm familiar with that, but if you say so, I'm not gonna deny you. Sure. If you're saying that happened, okay. But I don't need to defend Obama. I trash Obama all the time. I don't give a fuck. Fuck these people.
Okay, well then maybe you're the wrong person to talk to on this. I don't know what to say. You think they're all fascists. So then I guess Trump is a fascist according to you, and you're pretty consistent, I suppose.
He's absolutely 100% fascist.
Okay, well you're consistent in a way that's crazy.
No. Listen to me. Right? Before we go there, right? I'm just like, you want me to bite bullets, so I have to just bite your bullets for you. Because I wanna gobble them all up, right? I got no problem. Yeah. But right? I would say that And like when people like seriously discuss fascism, not just like on Twitter, right? When people are seriously discussing fascism, fascism isn't a light switch, right? It's not simply, oh, you're in a fascist regime or you're not in a fascist regime, right? We understand it's not a binary. Everything, like I like to say, is a spectrum, and fascism is definitely included on that. And so, yes, you can have presidents who can take more authoritarian actions than others, right? Who can engage in brutalities that we might call fascism, right? You brought up FDR. Hey, that's a really good point, Lactoid. Good work, Lactoid, bringing that up. That's a good point, right? But different. We've had like other presidents in this country sponsor genocides, right? Either directly by the American military, right, that we've done, or indirectly, where we had authoritarian regimes literally do a genocide their population. That's the thing that we've done. And I'm not talking about Israel. I'm not talking about Israel here. I'm talking about before then. This is not new, right? So like you can say if you're saying that's a fascist act, right? Yeah, it applies to a lot of presidents. What you've just discovered is that, yeah, a lot of presidents do evil shit. A lot of presidents do evil, heinous shit, and they should all be in jail for those actions. Absolutely.
Okay,
but when we're judging,
Prime.
that doesn't invalidate. That doesn't invalidate the actual criticism itself. Trump has secret police. Secret police.
Prime.
Hold on. Let's establish this just quickly, right? With our good friend Lactoid. Hey, Lactoid, right? Is it
ICE?
true? Yeah, is it true or is it not true that ICE is approaching people ununiformed and masked? Is that true or not true?
They're approaching people they do have signifiers on that they're ICE. They have masks on.
No, we've seen.
I can have the same signifiers, brother.
Their signifiers are like literally just regular street clothes. We've seen the videos.
That would be impersonating law.
They literally don't. They literally
how would you be able to tell?
Okay, I haven't seen this. This sounds like a bad idea. I don't think it. Can I answer?
Okay.
Can I answer, please? I don't think it necessarily makes them more or less fascist if they have uniforms or not.
No. Oh, building the picture of a secret police force, right? Building the picture. So we start there, right? That they're masked individuals, not identifying themselves, and then dragging people into unmarked cars. Is that true?
Seems like they would just be the police then if they had uniforms.
I don't want to. Gibbs, please. Lactoid, is that true? Have they been dragging them into unmarked cars?
I'm not aware.
Oh, you're not aware. Okay, well they have been.
I'm willing to accept that they have.
Okay, great, right? Have they literally black bag people?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've arrested people too.
Sure. And and then where have they sent them off to? Have they sent them off to prisons, right? Mm-hmm. Outside of U.S. control, at least full U.S. control, where they've been tortured, where they've been physically abused. Is that a thing that's happened, Lactoid? Under actual authoritarians, those prisons run by actual authoritarians. Has that happened?
You're talking about CCOT? You're talking about CCOT?
Yeah. Oh,
yes. There have been some people sent to CCOT for sure.
Oh yeah. They've been physically assaulted. They've been sexually assaulted at that prison. This is the testimony of the individuals coming out there, right? So we have a police force that rounds people up in mass arrest, right? Millions of individuals for all kinds of like spurious reasons. We can get into that some other time. Sorry, I don't want to like pull this whole conversation into this, right? But like we are taking them off, exfiltrating them out of the country as fast as possible, right? And then putting them in a prison where they're getting tortured, there, physically abused, sexually abused. In that prison, and then you say, well,
eventually half saved it. Okay, you half saved
Trump,
it,
right? And then what's worse, you say, oh, well, Trump does things that you wouldn't consider fascist. Yeah, again, it doesn't matter, right? Like he can do things that I like. There are things. In fact, there's something he did recently that I really praised. Right? There's something he did recently I really praised. We haven't really talked about that. We'll talk about this some other time, right? I don't want to get off topic, but he can do things that a person like doesn't negate like the authoritarianism that he's engaged in, right? Like we can point all these things out. That's what exactly what people are doing. That's an honest conversation to have.
Can I respond? Sure. So I never denied that you can point to specific examples. But like what I said at the very beginning is if we're going to use the term like label, if we're going to label, because labeling here matters. The only point of labeling something is to distinguish it from something else. You wouldn't use the same label on everything. Otherwise, the label loses all utility. The point of a label is to distinguish. If you're going to say, which you have, that, yeah, well, all the fascists are fascist, or all the presidents are fascist war criminals, we can just, they should all be arrested. Then again, maybe you're the wrong person to have this conversation with, because you're gonna say, well, Trump is a fascist.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, oh, by what metrics do you label someone a fascist? And then you're gonna describe metrics, and then you're gonna describe metrics that would include, as in your own words, like Bush and Biden and potentially Obama. You weren't quite sure about that one, but like it was kind of close.
I'm willing to give you Obama if you give me
Sure.
Obama. I'm willing to give you Obama.
Okay, you're even willing to give me Obama.
Lactoid.
I'm going to bring this back to Dooby.
But that's
Wait, please. Oh my God.
No. You ranted for a little while, Prime.
No, I can go as long as I want to, and I will if I want to. But I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying, just give me a second here. All I'm trying to say is that if you want, you can we can do the thing that we make to make white people feel better, right? What we can do when we're talking about bigotry, right? When we talk about bigotry, when we say, oh, okay, this person isn't a racist, right? Instead, they've done a racist action, which doesn't necessarily implicate their character, right? Again, to call the feelings of white people on this one. So this is something you can do. You can say that this person is essentially a fascist, right? They have done taken fascist actions, and then you can tally up how many fascist actions a person has done and the severity of the actions a president has done. That's another path.
Trump is relatively lower in the fascism degree compared to other presidents.
Okay, wait, Lactoid.
But Dooby's, because Dooby was the one who asked me the question. Then I want to talk with you, Nonfon. Dooby, do you agree with Prime that Bush and Biden were fascists?
Not in the way that Trump is. I think Trump is way worse, actually.
You think that the Iraq War and Afghanistan War and the prison program?
I don't think going to war equals fascism. I don't think going to war is fascism, right?
You don't think it's comparable, or like I guess a feature of fascism is kind of warlike behavior?
No,
not really.
No, that's about as good of an argument as the secret police argument.
Not necessarily.
Going to war, not necessarily. Is
launching various wars without like international justification.
Be in jail for them, but
some of them are.
I don't classify everything I don't
Iraq
like
was
as
not legal.
Lactoid, as we know from our greatest ally, liberal westernized democracies in the Middle East go to war all the time.
You criticize them for this. You call them fascists for this.
Well, they're nationalist Jewish supremacist countries. Yeah, I do consider them pretty.
And you could factor in the war, don't you? You factor in the airstrikes.
But I don't think the average person would say going to war equals fascism, right?
It adds fascism points, like Prime was talking about. Like being a warlike country is like emblematic of a fascist country as opposed to being a peaceful country.
Okay,
militarism is a key tenet of fascism.
Hold on.
Actually,
it's not true.
Hold on.
No. Wait, I do want to.
This is actually not true.
Everyone shut up. No, everyone shut up. Dooby was talking. Someone Dooby to finish, and then you guys can jump in.
Yeah, stop bullying me, okay, you fucking assholes.
All right, I'll be quiet.
So I don't think it even matters. So I don't think we need to get lost in the weeds of what a fascist is. I think you believe that Prime believes what he's saying, right? When he calls Trump a fascist, right? You think he's being honest about this. The issue that I have, that I'm trying to point to, is how does Prime express these honestly held genuine opinions, right, that he has based on the behavior of these people? If calling them a fascist, apparently, it might lead to somebody shooting them, right? Like, how do you even engage with the topic?
How do I engage with the topic if people calling somebody a fascist? Like, I try to add the context, right? Like, if people who are saying that like Trump represents some kind of unique threat, which, by the way, by the time of the next Republican administration, the Democrats are going to be saying the same shit about Trump as they're talking about Bush, like, oh, he was so nice, he was so good, like, totally, like, trying to, again, compare whoever the current president is as, like, make him look as bad as possible by lionizing the prior president. But the question of whether or not Trump is like a fascist, if you're trying to use fascist in terms of like this new like horrible threat that's like changing the country to some like the features of the country to some kind of substantial degree that was not the case when it comes to Bush or Obama or Biden, et cetera. Like that's the kind of like designation that I think most lefties are talking about, and that's the kind of designation that I think is most harmful and most inaccurate. But if you're using fascist in terms of the incredibly broad way that Prime is using, and as long as he explains that, then I don't know how anybody's going to see what Prime said and say like, oh, like Trump is like uniquely bad. They're going to say, well, Trump is simply one member of like a long line of a broken system, which I think that narrative is much less likely to be conducive to violence.
Okay, just real quick. Like, Lactoid, I think the fascism word is silly to debate the semantics of it sometimes, but you, I think, would agree with Trump has a kind of unique view of the powers of the executive branch. We didn't see Bush doing the same things, pushing unitary executive theory the same way I think Trump wants to.
In certain regards, yes. In other regards, no, right? I think Biden's attempt to use OSHA without Congress's approval to push mass vaccine mandates was like a massive overstep in executive control that Trump has not attempted to do. I think that the idea of packing the Supreme Court is like and particularly anti-constitutional and represents a destruction of our third branch of government. That was something the Republicans have said they're not going to do as compared to the Democrats. Yes, Trump, there's other things that Trump has like talked about. I think Trump has been pretty like gone overboard recently on executive orders. Like that's, you can criticize him for that. That's fine. But again, I don't think that makes him uniquely bad compared to the shit that was happening before or was threatened to happen.
I think for one, the reason Biden did a lot of things that you might see as being, you know, sort of overbearing or overstep to the executive branch's power is because he genuinely has some concern for well-being of people, right? Like Biden genuinely thought COVID was an issue and wanted to get the vaccine mandate as the thing to fix that. I think the reason Trump wants to do things that are an overstep of the executive powers branch is literally just because he wants power and he's egotistical, right? Like him, you know, him saying, oh, I want to have the power to have some say over interest rates, right? Like I don't think does he really sincerely believe that like monetary policy is being severely mishandled? I think he just wants that power because I think he knows it's going to do well. Or I think you know, he wants that power for himself because he knows it'll give him more power over voters. It'll give him more power over the economy. I think that's something that's kind of unique to Trump. And I also think Trump uniquely has sort of control over his own base that is relevant to the actions that Trump takes rhetoric wise.
We gotta let some other people in here. So we gotta agree Cory, Ali,
sure,
and Gibbs.
So Gibbs, earlier, if I heard you correctly, if I understood you correctly, which I might not have, you know, I think you mentioned that, you know, the left calling, or I've never done it, but you, obviously, I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm confident I've never called Trump a Nazi, but you seem to frame it as like the left calling Trump a Nazi that somehow like invokes violence. But did I understand that sentiment correctly?
Yeah, I do. I that would be correct. Yeah, I do.
Okay,
think that
so then you would agree that J.D. Vance was violent towards Trump by calling him a Nazi.
I would say that would be a example of violent rhetoric towards Trump. Yeah.
Okay, so his own vice president is violent towards the president, right? That's
he was at one point, and
okay,
and allied with him, and
we're forgiving people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know, even
don't talk
someone
about
as goated as
accountability.
J.D. Vance can make a mistake, and
we're forgiving people.
No, it seems like he's atoned for it and asked for forgiveness, and they become good friends.
Okay, and so in that vein, then you
shows our acceptance levels on the right.
So then you would say also that Trump is using violent rhetoric when he says radical left Marxists.
No.
Okay, so can you finish this phrase for me? Better dead than
red. That would be
What is that invoking?
It'd be better for me as the individual to be dead than be a communist.
Okay, so someone calling a Marxist.
Not us killing them. It's better for us to be dead than red.
Okay, yeah, so that's not calling for death.
Self-suicide? I guess that's violent towards other
people.
Okay,
so it's better to be dead than a Marxist, right?
Yeah. Okay,
so Trump.
I would rather be dead than be a Marxist.
Okay, but you would agree that Trump is being violent. That's violent rhetoric. Right?
I mean, if we're counting violent rhetoric towards oneself, then I guess we're also counting every My Chemical Romance song. Like, I mean, we're like, are you fucking kidding me with this logic that you're using?
Well, no. How is your logic? How is your logic then in terms of
one of them?
Why is labeling someone a Nazi violent and someone Marxist not violent?
Well, let's examine those two expressions. One is, oh yeah, he's a Nazi, and we should assassinate Nazis or punch Nazis out. This is
where in the definition of Nazi does it say we have to assassinate them?
Well, I mean, that's what people have called for. People have called for that ever since the Nazis existed. Right?
That doesn't answer my question.
Hold on.
Where?
There's a difference. Also, just in the own expression you used, we're going to use English. Let's break it down. Better read than dead implies it'd be better to self-harm.
No. Whoa. You reversed it. You reversed it.
I don't know. I reversed it. I'm just explaining simple English.
Better dead than red.
Better dead than red. It's better to be dead than be red. So it's better to die than it is to be a communist. Or that's what that means. It's not, oh, go kill the commies. Like, that's not what that's saying. Or it's saying it's better to fight them and die fighting them.
Wait, there's an expression. Where
self-harm.
Explain to me where in labeling someone Nazi that means we should assassinate them or kill them. Where?
I don't know. World War II? Like, I mean, are you fucking like?
Give me a
I mean,
definition.
are you like, this is history, bro? They went and killed the Nazis. That's what they're doing. Fight.
Hold on. Cory, can I just expand? I'm curious, right? Because would you apply that to people on the right, including Charlie Kirk, by the way, calling people on the left child grooming, satanic, child mutilating pedophiles, and also people who are like pro-Palestine, calling them like terrorists and terrorist supporters? There's the same level of violence attached to those things, I think.
Well, no, this is the difference. Once again, you say something like that, and if you're actually a Christian like Charlie Kirk professed to be, one of the things he did mention was tolerance, acceptance, and forgiveness. That was a big thing. And so he would argue, and this is what Charlie Kirk would argue.
Charlie Sheen too.
Charlie Sheen might.
Satanic child
He would argue
mutilating
that
pedophile.
it is your duty. It is your duty to witness to these people and try to bring them back to the light and show them that they are following demonic paths. It's not to go kill these people because the Lord is the judge. There's a difference there. But, that would be a break representation of Christianity that you're pushing forward.
A question in terms of because Lactoid was talking about
also,
labels and why we
and
why we use certain labels to differentiate one from the other. Like, you were calling Charlie Kirk moderate right. You said you guys see him as the moderate right?
He is the moderate.
I do. I do. Yeah.
You do, you guys. So, and because there's like Nick Fuentes and a couple other people who exist.
I mean, we're both more radical than Kirk.
Yeah. Is that in the same regard? Like Hassan is the moderate left because Haas exists and what's his name? Jackson Hinkle exists, and they literally go hang out with the Houthis, and they have an active American communist.
No, Hassan is not the moderate left.
Well,
he's much further left.
People to way more extreme.
Why? I can tell you why. Because Hassan himself will tell you that he's a far left, socialist that wants to destroy
No. I mean, so Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk will tell you he's a Christian nationalist. He believes in Christian law.
Yeah, which is a not moderate position.
He said that stoning gays to death is God's perfect law. So, obviously,
which
the guy's not moderate left or moderate right.
Wait, hold on. That's what you believe in as a Muslim,
right? He's a little bit on the far right. It's okay. He's a little bit Christian.
Wait. What do the Muslims say to do? What do the gays? Hold on.
I clarify.
No. Don't let him run away with this. What do the Muslims say to do to the gays? And if it's the similar,
oh my God!
Because
the Muslims aren't fucking making law in America.
It sounds like y'all have
the fucking Sharia whataboutism.
It sounds like
you
have the same
address this stoning. I'm going to address
this. Called throwing stones into glass houses.
I'm going to address.
When Charlie wants to stone the gays, when Ali wants to stone the gays, is that
it's the same position?
I want to address the specifics, the stoning question. So Charlie Kirk did not call for stoning of gays. It was a specific question as to it was a specific question as to biblically what does the Bible call for? Yep. This would be a very similar question what does the Quran call for? And then you explain what the Quran says without necessarily saying that should be enacted into that should be hold up without that being implemented as law in America.
Okay.
You're not. Hold on, unless maybe Dooby can correct me here. You're not going to find Kirk saying that element of Christian law, specifically stoning gay people, should be
revoked in the New Testament anyway.
Guys,
but that's going to inform the policy he wants to push.
Guys,
finish your quote.
He did not say that should be implemented into American policy.
Of course not.
He did talk about biblically this is the case, and by the way, biblically he's right. If you look at the Bible, that's what it says. And that doesn't mean you put it into policy. But if you're doing an analysis of the Bible, that is accurate. Just like you do an analysis of the Quran.
And when you describe something as God's perfect law, right? You may not want that specific law written directly into policy, but that's going to inform the type of policy that you're going to then push for, especially within your group, which I would not consider a moderate position. If you want Christianity,
not necessarily.
It's God's perfect law. Is that an endorsement or is he?
this is the problem. This is the problem. Like this, no, it's
if
not.
I said
This is the problem. You're
law.
I know
then,
this is dishonest.
Something positive about that, or
This
negative
is
about that?
the reason why this is dishonest is because the specific conversation that you're referencing was a discussion about the Bible. If you are, unless you're a fucking liar, if you read the Bible is very clear about what to do to gay people. It just is. Now, maybe if you're like just want to lie,
Old Testament.
Sure, and that is part, and that is part of the Bible, right? And so when you're looking, can I please finish? And so when you're reading the Bible, and that's in the Bible, and you are not a dishonest hack, you're going to say, "Hey, look, the Bible says this. This is what the law, the biblical. This is what the biblical law prescribes." He did not, in that conversation, very specifically, did not call for this to be implemented in American policy.
I'll agree with you. Wait. I'll agree with you. But in the same regard, if you had the same a Muslim political influencer who is speaking about like Sharia law, he's like, "Listen, this is what it says in Sharia law. I'm not necessarily pushing for it, right? But like these are the things I believe."
That'd be honest.
Yeah, you'd be honest.
He also goes on to talk about
that would be honest.
This is very hold on. There's a second part to this. Hold on, I have to say something. This is very dishonest right now. The Bible. Hold on. I really have to say something.
God, he said God's perfect plan. God's perfect plan.
Okay.
Is that an endorsement?
God's perfect law
or not?
It's not an endorsement because you're misrepresenting. Hold on. I have to say something. You are misrepresenting.
Sharia is God's perfect law. Sharia is God's perfect law.
Answer the question. If I say that non-conf is a man's perfect law, would that be an endorsement? You would say it's not.
No. In that case, yes, but in this case, no. Because hold on, this is the part you're doing wrong. Hold on, no, it's not a nice try. It's because this is how dishonest you're being. It's either dishonesty or purpose ignorance. Okay, in the New Testament and the Old Testament, they're both parts of the Bible. Lactoid is correct. That would be the canon biblical law back in the day in the Old Testament, right? That's clear. Now, Jesus himself, the inheritor of the mantle of God, in the flesh, in person, on earth, as the representative, states that with his death, the old law is no longer needed and the canon is broken. Hold on. And this goes on and is repeated with several examples. The Holy Spirit coming down and speaking to the Gentiles and speaking to the people in front of Peter, and Peter and Paul being sent on a mission to speak to people of other faiths.
What is all of this?
Hold on. This is important because y'all are misrepresenting. And Prime is laughing. And honestly, I am a little offended at this Prime that because what is happening? Cool, that's fine. Because what is happening? Hold on. What is happening? What is happening? That's fine. What has happened? That's fine. What is happening is that you are lying about what Christians believe, and you're lying about what Christians.
I'm not lying about.
Let me finish. You are lying about what Charlie Kirk said.
You're just going like a completely different way.
No, let me finish. Y'all just lied about what Charlie Kirk said, because Charlie Kirk goes on in that later in the same speech when he's talking about that and talks about how there is a division between the Old Testament law and the New Testament, where they talk about where the power of Christ comes in and pays for things with the power of his blood. And that is the New Testament canonical law, whether you're Protestant or Catholic or Greek Orthodox. And so when you sit here and prescribe that he is, no, it does. When you sit here and prescribe, when you prescribe that he is sitting here saying we should stone these people and it's God's perfect law, because he believes when he says it's God's perfect law, it's because everything God does is when he says it's God's perfect law. Everything God does is perfect. Everything God does.
So Sharia is God's perfect law.
If you're Muslim, then sure, yes. I will absolutely agree with you, Ali. If you're a Muslim, you believe Sharia is God's perfect law.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
That is true. And no, this is what you said. He said, oh, it's God's perfect law to do this. And it is God's perfect law because God is perfect and nothing is imperfect. And that's why it changes in the New Testament. But you clearly don't understand religion. You are being dishonest.
I didn't say he advocated for stoning people. I didn't say that. Dooby brought that up, right? You can ask Dooby about that. But I didn't bring that up at all, right?
God's perfect law 5 times.
Hey, like when you say this is a perfect plan, is that an endorsement?
It is
or
because
not?
It is and
That's
it
isn't
because
right?
it changes in
in
the New Testament from the Old. I'm not being dishonest. You're being dishonest because you don't understand the religion.
You're fucking dishonest.
You are being dishonest because you don't understand the religion. You don't understand the religion, Brian. You are literally lying about the religion. You are literally lying about the religion right now. You are saying yes, you are. Well, then you don't understand it because it's not a strict endorsement.
What did I ask? Hold on.
You
Repeat
said-
it. Repeat it.
Oh, I
Repeat
will.
what did I
You
ask?
said you asked is in this case, and you listed one case, which was is it God's perfect law, and then I said, oh, okay, no, in this context, no, because he explains how that law no longer applies in modern Christianity. It's
He still thinks
ridiculous.
it's the
And he's
perfect
done
law.
this. Hold on, because every law by God is perfect as to people, and that's why it was perfect at the time, and it has changed under the New Testament. That's why we no longer put blood
Yeah,
over
you're
our
being
doors
fucking
during the
dishonest. You're
Passover. No,
fucking
this is just
dishonest.
facts. You
You're
would be
being
dishonest because you don't
fucking
understand
dishonest.
the Christian
You're being
religion,
fucking
and you want to
dishonest.
bash
Don't
every
worry,
church. Yeah,
it will
it's
never
very
work on
disgusting.
me.
I mean, yeah, I
Fucking
mean, it'll never
dishonest.
work.
Don't
because
worry, I'll
you're
be
lying
more
right now.
disgusting with you
You
later
are
So
on.
you
lying
think
right
Charlie?
now.
Hold
I'm not done with you
on.
yet.
So
You're
can I ask?
lying.
I'm just going to
The
ask.
LGBT
You-
is a disease. Yes.
Wait,
Wait,
stop.
can I
I'm going to
just-
ask very
yeah.
specifically.
Can I-
So hold on. Is your honest opinion then, Prime? Honest, because you're very imposing here on your demand of honesty. You honestly think that Charlie Kirk wanted the law to throw rocks at gay people until they die? That's
I
what
didn't
you
say
both
that at
think
all.
that Charlie.
I haven't
No, so
heard
you
what
don't
I
think
said.
Charlie Kirk believes that?
Yeah, I
You
never
only-
said that.
No,
I
no,
never
no,
stated
no,
that.
no,
Have I
wait,
ever
wait,
stated that?
wait.
He wanted
I
to
believe-
take.
I
Did
believe-
say
I-
that?
wait,
No,
I
I
believe he-
didn't. Once again,
wait.
Gibbs would be a
Oh.
fucking liar.
I
I'm
believe
not
he-
being a liar. You would be lying because you
I
don't
believe
understand the
Charlie
difference between Old
Kirk-
and New Testament law.
Because
I
you're a
believe-
fucking
Dude,
liar.
is there a difference
Because
between
you're a
Old and New
fucking
Testament
liar.
law?
Because
Yes
you're
or
a
no?
fucking liar.
Is there an Old
Because
Testament and New
you're a
Testament
fucking
difference in
liar.
law?
Because
Is there
you're
a
a
difference
fucking
between
liar.
Old and New Testament law?
Because
Yes
you're a
or
fucking
no?
liar.
Yeah,
All
then
I asked
you
was one
know.
question.
You framing
I
this
asked you a
dishonestly.
Lactoid.
I
Then
asked
you
you
know
a
you're
question,
disputing this
a
dishonestly.
Lactoid, and I asked Gibbs a question. He's
Well,
being
yeah,
a
you
fucking
framed this
coward.
dishonest. Yeah,
And
you've
he's being
just
a
framed it
fucking
dishonest.
coward.
No, you're
Doesn't
being a
want to answer
coward.
the question
You were being.
honestly.
I answered your
Lactoid.
question
Hold
honestly,
on.
and you are being dishonest right now.
Good luck, Ollie.
That's fine.
That's
You're
fine.
too much big of a
I
fucking
mean,
coward.
I stated all the
You're too
facts.
big of
You
a
just are
coward.
sitting here.
Let's try Lactoid.
You were
Let's
trying
see
to
if
use a
Lactoid
clip
can
to
be
frame
brave.
something
Let's
wrong.
see if
That's
Lactoid can be
dishonest.
brave. Hey, Lactoid, let's see if you can be brave the way
Yeah,
Gibbs
be
can
brave like
fucking
like
coward.
Prime and
Hey,
lie
shut
about
up.
the
Shut up for a
context.
second while I talk to Lactoid, right? I don't want to talk to cowards right now. So
Yeah, I mean,
Lactoid,
sorry, well, stop talking to yourself.
shut up.
I mean, you're the one acting like a bitch right now.
Lactoid, shut
Fine.
up.
Watch, he's gonna beat me next because he's a bitch.
Lactoid, I will make me. If you want me to, I will. I'll
I
give
mean,
you
it's
the
a
gift.
pussy move.
Well, shut
but
the
go
fuck
ahead.
up so I can get to this. All right, thank you. Let's Lactoid. Hey, if I
What?
say something is a perfect plan, I describe something, right? I say this is perfect. Is that an endorsement or not?
In most contexts, but not all contexts.
Most contexts. But
Can
not
I
all
can I offer
contexts.
more
What
context?
are places where it's not an endorsement? Give me an
You're
example.
describing the Old Testament.
Oh, okay. Nice try. All right. Nice try. You can see the dishonesty in this group.
So can I offer more?
How
Wait,
is it
wait,
dishonest?
I just wanna-
Real quick, wait, hold on. And you, by the way, you have to agree with that, Prime, unless you think that Charlie Kirk was endorsing throwing stones at gay people until they die. If you think he was actually advocating for that, then I guess you can say that was an
that's a
endorsement.
dishonest framing. That's a dishonest framing.
It's how is that a dishonest
Because
framing?
no,
Go ahead.
I don't think he was advocating to change the actual policy to us have gay people in the town square and stone them to death in 2025. However, I do believe that he believed that this was the correct law. This was the correct thing to do to gay people. It's just that we're more civilized. It's just that we're more civilized now. So what he would do is push for to repeal certain pro-LGBT, repeal all pro-LGBT policy.
not the stoning protections.
So he's not going to advocate for stoning, right? But that doesn't mean that belief isn't going to inform the type of policy that he pushes for,
Ollie, did you
which
just admit
which
that
is
there's
still
New Testament,
detrimental
Old
to
Testament
the
law?
LGBT. So it's like just
I'm
because he's
sure
not advocating for specifically
Is there a
stoning
difference
doesn't
between New
fucking mean
Testament, Old
much.
Testament law? Is there a
Doesn't
difference
fucking
between New
mean
Testament,
much.
Old Testament law? Yes or no?
No, that's why I keep asking. If Zohran Mandami was like, listen, I think Sharia is the perfect law, you
I
guys
would
would be
argue that
fucking you guys would.
No,
you
I
guys
would, but I wouldn't. Hold on, I would say it's an endorsement.
That's going
but
to
I would
prefer
say
that
his
to communism,
policy in
honestly.
fucking New York.
Ollie, I'll build a bridge with you. If he said that, I will accept that he believes that the Sharia law is God's divine plan, which is what Muslims believe,
And
because that is their perfect law, and there's nothing wrong with him saying that and advocating.
There's nothing
for
wrong with
Oh my God.
Hold on, I will fight it.
Even
but
though
not
shit.
hold on, I will fight it on the grounds that no, I disagree and I think it's religiously flawed and it's not the correct law and not the perfect law. However, I would actually applaud him for fighting for his beliefs and pushing something.
Wow!
Wait, do any just please do any?
No, I will bite the bullet because if you're the same, look, hold on, I will back a Muslim pushing for their laws. I'm just going to fight them whenever.
There's a clip of Zohran Mandami. He says Sharia law is God's perfect law.
Well, that's what he believes.
The
It's his
potential
religious
mayor of New
belief.
York. And you would be,
Ali,
would you say that isn't
can I
an
answer
endorsement of Sharia law? Yes or no? It's really a simple yes or no.
No. Let me get the full answer, okay?
Okay,
If Zoran is talking about like Islam, if he's on a podcast and they're having a conversation about Islam, and he talks about Sharia being God's perfect law, and then he goes on to describe how he's not, like, he doesn't say he's going to put in any policy. He goes on later to describe how it's not really applicable in modern day, but that like the Quran very clearly talks about the law and how it's like the perfect law. But he also goes on later to like say that he's not implementing it in current policy, which, by the way, you guys agree with.
Muslim, as Charlie was a devout Christian.
Which yes.
Okay,
Then let me please. Then that would be okay. And when I say okay, it's at least okay in the sense that I'm not going to think that he's like actually prescribing stoning gay people, which is the very obvious implication when you bring up this out of context quote.
Would you believe that he's
we gotta let the people in.
I just need to know. Like, it was a yes or no that he didn't answer. Was it yes or no? Would you say that Zoran Dindami was endorsing Sharia law by saying?
What do you mean by endorsing? What do you mean by endorsing?
As in the potential mayor of New York thinks Sharia law is God's perfect law.
You mean
okay
implementing it
and winning potential mayor for New York, and you wouldn't use that against him.
And implementing it. And implementing it.
Oh my God! Wait.
Implementing is clearly something different, not endorsing. But
all right, go ahead.
That's why I asked what endorsement meant.
Go ahead, Dooby. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let other people in, guys.
I asked what endorsement meant.
Okay, I just want a few very simple things. Okay, do any of you seriously? Do any of you dispute the fact that Charlie Kirk wants to ban gay marriage based largely on his religion?
He also is advocating for a partnership separate from marriage, because marriage is between a man and a woman.
Okay, that's great. You don't deny that he does what he wants to. That's great. Okay, do you guys dispute
it's like 40% of Americans or something? Sure.
Do you guys dispute that he also wants to ban all of abortions, including rape and incest, largely based on also his religious beliefs?
I mean, which is murdering children, so yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read you a tweet now from January 5th. Quote, "The vice president has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors." Okay, I'm going to read you another tweet now from September 1st. "America does not need more visas for people from India. Perhaps no form of legal immigration has displaced so many American workers as those from India. Enough already. We're full. Let's finally put our own people first." Do those 4 facts strike you as more moderate or more pretty extreme leaning Christian nationalist?
Pretty moderate.
Those 4 things are pretty moderate.
Well, then Hassan is moderate.
The reason, hold on. The reason why I'm going to say moderate, the reason why I'm going to, or at least maybe a better term might be like mainstream, is because these beliefs that you described represent like probably 30 to 40% of America. They represent this person actually has like or at least have an established voice within the Republican Party. Meanwhile, Hassan is like treated like a black sheep. He is excluded from the Democratic Party. He is not like platformed by the actual like political machine of the left.
This is the issue with the Republican Party. Thank you very much.
And so
political power
and so maybe things change with Zoran, but as of right now, I wouldn't call him like mainstream.
AOC and Bernie.
AOC and Bernie, I would probably call more moderate and mainstream compared to like Hassan.
Yeah, and he hangs out with them, and he endorses them, and they endorse him.
Sure. I mean, I don't think they endorse Hassan.
We have Jackson Hinkle, who I don't think with the literal fucking Houthis.
I don't think they endorsed Hassan. I know. I think Hassan with his 9/11 take tanked like any kind of like real political interaction that he is able to have. Like, I'm sorry, you're saying, he's moderate. He said America deserved 9/11. You don't really come back from that. Sorry.
I just want to be clear. Like
X amount of things about Islam, about black people, about so on and so forth. Like, yeah, and in terms of like rhetoric, yeah, Charlie doesn't have the most moderate rhetoric.
Nothing. He said nothing like America deserved 9/11, which is what Hassan said.
Well, we got to let other people in.
Can I give you guys more context?
That is not moderate.
About Charlie Kirk and what he believed. So I think it'd be
sure, helpful. And then we'll go back to Nonfon because Nonfon wanted to tie into that as well. Sure.
Okay, yeah, just really quick. So my understanding is he was a 7-mountain mandate dominionist, which means that he believed that that Christians have a mandate from God to seize the 7 mountains of cultural influence, like schools, politics, the media, family, like etc. Like these are all like spheres of cultural influence. So they seize those spheres of cultural influence, and then once they have them, they use them to transform the nation into a Christian nation, explicitly Christian nation, with laws that come from the Bible, right? That are influenced heavily by the Bible. So I don't think that's a something the average Republican wants or even thinks about, right? I think this is very, very far on the fringes, actually. I don't think that the average Republican would want to ban gay marriage, for example, like a Nonfon brought up. I don't think the average Republican would advocate for, would say that he doesn't believe in a separation of church and state. He actually didn't think there was one. He thought that was like a made up thing, and there shouldn't be a separation of church and state. So he was explicitly advocating for there to be a Christian government in the U.S. Right. So I don't think that's like an average normie Republican position.
I would say you're wrong. I would say you're wrong about that. I know
if that's the normie position.
No, I would say at least 40% of the Republican Party is probably in the Christian nationalist camp. Or
this is exactly hold on.
In
this
the
is
Christian,
exactly the problem.
40%.
Wait.
Yeah,
Dooby, what percentage? What percentage of Republicans do you think support gay marriage?
I just looked it up. Yeah.
Before you answer, Prime, I want Dooby's answer.
I'd guess somewhere around like 40%.
Yes, 41% of Republicans support gay marriage. And so when you keep pointing out Kirk's like opposition to gay marriage is like him being like extreme or him being out of line with like mainstream Republicanism, this is just not true. This is actually very much in line like with most Republicans.
Yeah, the Republican Party is an awful party. Thank you for.
Well, the other thing is, y'all sit here is preach for the Bible. Kirk is sitting here. He's used this story multiple times. I've heard him, seen him watch clips, and he'll talk about with sin cast the first stone, which is in the New Testament, which circumcedes over the Old Testament, right? Mm-hmm. So we're sitting here going, we all know that, and if you're being honest about the Christian religion, and you know this, and even if he advocated in God's perfect world, hold on, and even in God, no, we're gonna finish this. Even if God's perfect plan. Even his perfect plan or perfect law, then he's admitting that the humans are not perfect, because the New Testament, he says he without sin throw the first stone. They don't throw the stones because Jesus teaches that. And then he says his sacrifice. So if you believe he's a Christian and you believe he's advocating for Christian beliefs, then you know that y'all doing dishonest framing by using this one clip out of context and ignoring hundreds of other clips where he talks about this regularly as a Christian witness. So y'all are being bad faith and y'all know it. This is the same as the Trump thing where the good people on both sides lie and hoax. This is the exact same 1 degree of separation bullshit I was talking about in my opening, and it's disgusting behavior.
Okay, let's go
Gibbs
to
is right on this one.
Cory. No, he's not. And then we'll go to Ali.
I mean, part of what I was going to say got mentioned, but obviously, Lactoid laid out exactly the problem with the Republican Party is that on the left, on the side of left wingers, people like Hassan are marginalized, and on the side of right wingers, Charlie Kirk, who believes there shouldn't be any immigration from Indian people, and that the vice president has the unilateral authority to choose whatever elector or reject fraudulent electors. In his words, this is the problem with the Republican parties, that voices like that are put into the mainstream.
The problem with this though is, and I think because we all have people that we are don't really lament the fact that they get got, right? I don't think anybody here is crying about Hitler, but the thing that I think
we got to think about his humanity though,
scaring a lot of right wingers, right? Is that when you guys are saying, well, we're celebrating his death. I mean, not you guys specifically, but when the left is celebrating his death and they're saying, look, he supported this. And then when you look at that and you realize it maps onto half the country, concern there is...
Wait, 25% of the country.
The concern there, well, half the... Sure, but most Republicans, right? Okay, it maps onto most Republicans. The concern there is, okay, so you guys are you guys want a significant portion of the country dead. That's the scary part.
Nonfon, you can respond, and then I got to move on.
Okay, I don't think I wasn't trying to, and I don't necessarily think you were accusing me of it. I wasn't trying to justify why or why not. Charlie Kirk was, asking for it or whatever to some extent. I was just adding on. I forget what Dooby's even initial claim was at this point that got us in this whole conversation.
Killing
he was a big Christian guy for sure.
He was a big I was really just trying to provide evidence at that point. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and Ben Shapiro's very his Judaism is informs his moral philosophy. Religion, I think it's very difficult to have religious beliefs and not have that inform your moral philosophy, because in the same way that there's secular ideologies that can inform your moral philosophy as well. There are things that we believe in that inform our decisions. Shapiro... And when you and I don't think Charlie Kirk's beliefs were all that different and all that extreme compared to significant major demographics of the country. that I don't want this to become the new norm where like we find out Grandpa Joe died, and then hey, Grandpa Joe didn't like gay marriage, so let's go like piss on his funeral. That's fucked.
Also, just
Okay,
to be, like,
so
no elected Democrats have done this, but yeah.
All right. Oh.
I was gonna say no. I'm sure there's some have.
Corey.
Destiny has, but
Corey.
Not elected,
Ali.
but
Destiny's
the
retarded.
ultimate elected Democrat.
Corey Ali Dooby.
Okay, so also rewinding, Gibbs, you mentioned earlier, same conversation that I brought up earlier, of I think you said more or less the sentiment was the left is literally killing us. So like, is it your impression that like the killing is just one way? It's just the left killing the right?
I would say it's disproportionate, right? Like when I hear
Okay,
things
so-
like
okay,
like
so-
righty violence or something.
Okay,
you
so
know,
out
like
of cu-
it's much smaller scale.
Okay,
and
so
you
out of
just-
curiosity, which one do you think the right should be held accountable for? Or which one do you think they should own up to?
I don't know. Give me an example. Like
Any ones that you're aware of.
Like I mean, like I don't know. I'm like asking what you
Okay.
call, because some of them are like
So
questionable.
coincidentally, there's no right individuals that have killed on your radar.
Sure,
that have
you
killed
know what? Let's go with Timothy McVeigh.
Okay,
He was
that's
right
okay.
lady guy, right?
Let's say in the past 20 years, since Trump was elected.
I mean, since Trump was elected, I don't know. Wasn't Dylan Roof? a
Okay,
crazy
so
fucker?
what coincidence? So
I don't think Dylan Roof really espoused the ideas of the Trump
Yeah,
administration.
I mean, I don't think so either. But I mean, he's
so
a-
Lactoid.
period.
Like, are you of the same sentiment as Gibbs? It's just one way, just the left killing the right.
No.
Okay, so then, are there any that you would take the right should take account for? Like they should own this, or are you the same sentiment? I'm not aware of any.
No, okay, just to be clear, like my point this entire time has been that I am criticizing the
My question-
reaction. I'm answering the question. I'm criticizing the reaction, and I'm saying that people like shouldn't be so awful about this.
I agree.
I think that when those senators from Minnesota were assassinated, that was really fucked. They were Democrat senators. It appears that the killer had a conservative motive. Trump went out and condemned that, as he should have. I condemn it. Not good.
Okay.
okay, wait.
And-
I
Just
think
to-
at the time you argued. Hold on. I think at the time you argued with us on whether he was a Republican or a Democrat.
We didn't know. We didn't know at the time.
Okay, yeah, because I remember you talking about flyers in his trunk.
Yes,
right?
we didn't
And
know.
talking
We didn't
about
know at the
the
time.
symbols.
I think, and by the way,
I-
there's still evidence both ways. I think I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt and like lean towards it being a conservative, especially
Okay.
considering who was targeted.
I appreciate you saying
But
that.
sure, we don't know for sure, okay? But
we know for
Trump
sure this
still
guy.
condemned it right away, which is good, and I condemn it.
I
Wait,
like
do-
that. Let's keep that evidence for later because we're
Okay,
going to bring that up again. But
I'm
I thank you for saying that. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm not done. Just to maybe a quick. So far that's like the only one that you're aware of. That's the only one that say the right should take account.
That's the one that pops out for
Okay,
me. Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
All right.
I mean,
Ali.
if there, I don't think Dylan Roof is going to be like Republican. I think white nationalism is different.
wait.
Okay,
Can we?
and Gibbs, do you agree with Lactoid's assessment?
I mean, like Dylan Roof is I would
That's not
agree.
what his assessment was. The different, right, as far as I know.
I would say that he probably had a mostly accurate assessment.
Okay, but how come you didn't bring that up earlier when I asked you?
I mean, I brought up Dylan Roof. I mean, like I didn't have
No,
like
no,
all
no,
these people
no.
off the top of my head. I mean,
it's not a bad
you
example.
I mean, you
Example
okay?
that
I'll give you the
counts.
example.
Why?
What was the-
No. My question is, why did it have to go to Lactoid to get that out, and why didn't you mention it?
Well, I mean, there's other examples you could go to. Like I've heard. Okay,
Then why
let's
didn't you bring them up?
Hold on.
I asked
well,
you.
Well,
I
let's
gave
just,
you
let's
free.
just,
I gave you
because,
free.
hold on.
airspace.
Because a lot of the times, this is the problem. right?
Because the right.
This is the
just
problem.
Just like
is-
my opening statement, the right will
No.
never take account for anything.
No, this
Okay,
is bullshit.
Lactoid-
because
Lactoid won't
a
even
lot
own
of
his
the times, y'all
opinion.
want us to act like immediately take accountability for shit that's dubious at best. Like we've seen evidence to suggest that this guy with Pelosi, for example, they had a previous history
Oh my
like, with their
God.
husband, right? So
They-
we've
there
seen
you go.
evidence
We
suggesting.
see
Now,
it.
I'm not
It has-
saying that's true, but you know what? I condemn the violence in general. If he's right leaning, he's left leaning. If the guy is Dylan Roof, put him in the wood chopper. If it's this guy, put him in the wood chipper. Like the right will be like, yeah, the guy's bad. He shot gay people.
I literally
Put him in the fucking wood chipper.
literally asked you an
Every time.
open-ended
You know, like,
question.
the post
I
the
asked you
post
an open-ended
shooter.
question.
You know, like
said
you know, put him
nothing.
in the wood chipper. Like all these shooters.
Yeah.
Like
So
put them all in the
why?
wood chipper. Like what's your point?
Why did it have to go to Lactoid to get that information out? Or
I've said this other times. I just don't know. I don't know which one you want me to say, because the problem is I'll say something.
Because I'm a politics god, Corey.
Yeah, the problem is like you'll say something.
You're like
and then,
one step above.
Okay. Oh no. The problem is we'll do like we did with this prompt, right? Where we know this guy's obviously a left-winging nut job, and then we sit here, we see the people on the left go, oh, he's clearly right-wing because his parents were Mormon, even though he's living with a transgender furry and then they're sitting here in Discord groups saying this shit, and they're saying it openly, and they're doing this, and we have witnesses, we have anti-fascist messaging on the bullets, we know this is things, we have other people, hold on, we have, and then hold on, then we hold on, then we see this, hold on, no,
this is the issue,
because then what you'll do is you'll frame this, and y'all are trying to say this guy's a right winger. So then we have someone like the guy that shot at Trump, right? He comes along, and there's evidence that he was a registered Republican, and okay, cool, but then we find out he also donated to Biden and was part of BlackRock, which are more left than a right. So it's like you go, but they're like, oh, he's a right winger. He was a registered Republican, even though he doesn't. So it's like y'all have
these
did
a commercial for BlackRock or some shit.
And then it's like you'll want us to co-sign this guy's inherently right wing when there's like mixed messages, just like the guy that killed the Minnesota people, right? Okay, I would probably say he was probably a right winger, right? Maybe, probably.
Why did you say that at the time?
Hold on.
Gotta give you one.
Once again, even in that case, there's other evidence that supports that it might have been a personal vendetta of some sort in like these cases because of point. So it's like, well, yeah, sure, you want us to like co-sign things that are not super obvious, and then when something super blatantly obvious comes along, y'all are like, oh, it's totally the same situation.
So I don't see and I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just saying I don't see why a personal vendetta would change anything about the question. And there's not an attack towards you, Gibbs. What I'm saying is that like these things are mixed, right? Like we can understand that these people are crazy people, right? Like the type to do mass shootings. Hopefully, no one here will be that type, right? Because those people are insane, right? Like one way or the other.
Well, okay, that's why nobody's saying the guy that killed the Ukrainian girl is like, motivated by left-leaning violence. Yeah, we might say it's racially motivated, but nobody's going, hold on, we're talking about DEI. We say he's racially, it might have been racially
some racism, but he's also crazy.
Yeah, but we're not sitting here going, oh, this guy specifically was a leftist, right? Because we know that it was probably mental illness and whatever, and then it was DEI that killed him. But it's like when we
trying to reach out, I'm trying to reach out to you. So I'm not trying to, again, I specifically, I'm not trying to attack you. I'll attack you later. Don't worry. That's coming.
That's fair.
But like, I'm saying that, I'm saying, okay, what we choose to identify as a political, an attack with political motivation and one that does it, right? Like that has complex and it has lots of rules as to what counts and what doesn't. Like I like to say, everything's a spectrum, right? Like what is a political attack? You can actually go down this line, right? And you can find gray zones where this, like you're attacking like a marginalized group, right? But like, did you feel any hate towards them? I mean, you did shoot at them, or is it that hey, they just happen to be literally the closest people near you, right? You're like, I want to die by cop, and there's a group of Lebanese people near me, and so I'm going to shoot at them, right? And then if you're a white guy, it might say, hey, this is like racially motivated or politically motivated. Like this is how these things work. So I'm just saying that like it's very complex as to what counts and what doesn't. I'm just trying to like acknowledge that. I know we got.
Can I add one thing on my answer? I got to add something onto my answer that I answered Corey about. So I as charitably as being as I am, of saying that hey, the list was all Democrats. So I'm comfortable saying there was likely some kind of anti-Democrat motivation there. Not only did Trump condemn it right away, but was there really any kind of significant celebration on the right of them dying?
No. We said throw them in the wood chipper.
I don't know if there was a celebration, but like Donald Trump.
Was there TikToks of people dancing?
This is the issue. We're asking like Twitter liberals on Blue Sky to change their behavior, but then like we make all these excuses for like Trump, who is president of the United States, and also
Trump condemned it.
I understand Trump condemned. Well, Trump condemned the Minnesota lawmakers shit. He's been very flaky.
And nobody celebrated it. Nobody in the right celebrated.
I don't know if that's true, but I do know for the Paul Pelosi hammer attack. What? I'm telling you, I don't know. It could be true, but like Trump didn't order the flags be it. Trump has never been good at making any.
The hammer attack was a little bit odd, right? I agree, it wasn't good. I didn't celebrate it. I think some people unfortunately saw some level of humor in it, especially since
I don't care about
died. I think when nobody dies, like we're usually a little more willing to show some humor.
I don't even care about like the people.
Gay lover. But I just want to make it very clear that I think this is an important distinguishing factor. When those senators, people keep bringing up the senators, when those senators were assassinated, Trump condemned it right away. So this is the president of the United States condemning the violence immediately, and there was no mass celebration on the right.
And if there was,
I gotta let in other people. We've been waiting patiently, right? I forget it was Ali or Dooby next. What we can say, Ali.
Yeah. So it's like one. Those were politicians.
Can I finish
right? So like,
two
I don't know if
goddamn sentences? Oh my god! Oh my god! Trump has never been like Trump can make whatever half-order condemnation he wants, but he never does any type of unifying message to try to heal the nation or whatever. He never does this shit. He never does this shit. He didn't order the flags be at half-mast for the Minnesota lawmakers being killed.
Brother, I'm not gonna lie.
Or one killed and one injured.
I literally hated Islam.
Like, oh my god, kill
the
me.
left is using to slit the throat of America. This is just
conservatives don't like
not
Islam.
only is he the president of the United States, but he's the president of the United States with a unbelievable control over his base. Joe Biden doesn't have as strong a control over the Democrats as Trump does over the Republicans.
But they are saying
ideology you don't agree with. Just because it's an ideology you don't agree with, you're going to sit here and say that this guy was a moderate.
So you're admitting the left are Nazis right now because they're the ones persecuting the Jews? Is that what you're trying to say?
Bro.
You can criticize Islam. That's fine.
You just said they wouldn't use it. They wouldn't use the rhetoric that you're saying that it's pre-Nazi rhetoric because they're doing it to the Muslims
and painting Muslims in the same way.
Yeah, and if they're painting the Jews that way, then it's whatever. And then we've had people on this panel, which is their political position, say things that are similar, if not worse, than anything the right said about the Muslims.
About Jews.
And about the Jews specifically.
Are you
saying that's pre-Nazi rhetoric?
Hold on. Who said what about the Jews?
Well, okay, so I'm going to give you an example right here for this panel, and I'm going to give you an example for the other night. So first, we'll go with the other night, right? I laid out a bunch of policy, and I was told just saying their policy was inflammatory rhetoric. All right, cool. Now, just on this panel we had today, and you don't have to argue whether this is policy or not, but it's the same kind of logic. I heard people here go, Dooby say, they're a Jewish ethno-state supremacy group, a supremacist nation that is starting wars with other countries for ethnic cleansing.
That's
right?
true.
Right,
the nation.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the nation is about the Jews. It's about Israel. It's about the nation.
Sure. But then you're going to go on to say a lot of people are like, anybody that believes in this brand of Judaism is Zionist and they're evil. That's the same kind of rhetoric that
Zionism
the Nazis
has nothing to do with Judaism.
use. I mean, are you arguing that? Hold on. If I pull up a quote right now with Hitler saying the exact same things as the Free Palestine movement, what would you do?
Hold on.
Oh my god.
Wait, hold on. You're arguing. You're just fucking picking at straws.
I'm just asking you because you said it's the same rhetoric, Ollie.
It just seems like what you keep doing is like you are making a vague statement and say like, well, if someone else did this vague statement,
no, that's not what I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is Ali made a claim. Ali made a claim, and I actually have a direct quote from Hitler where he says, "Hold on. He said, a literal Nazi."
Let's not talk about Hitler.
Says the same things that Ali is advocating would be
not talking about Hitler yet. 1 second. We'll talk about Hitler. Don't worry.
You don't know what my claim is.
You can't escape Hitler. You can never escape Hitler. Right? He's all around us. He's inside us. Right? Okay. So, you made a claim about the people on the panel saying things against Jews, okay?
Which is what's happening.
You gave an example where it wasn't against Jews. It was literally like
that's a difference in this case.
The Jewish nation.
Yeah, we're talking.
Yes,
a Jewish ethno state is talking about as a description of this nation of Israel, right? Not saying that like it's a nation filled with Jews. It doesn't mean like you're making a statement about Jews. That's crazy.
I need to respond to that.
A derogatory statement against Jews.
No, let me tell you this. Here's the thing. I have a direct quote from Hitler. I literally watched the clip today, and I wouldn't fact check it afterwards. And I just coincidentally, it's coming up now. And Ali's claim was this is the claim. He said if they use this rhetoric, and they said it about Jews, it would be Nazi rhetoric. Okay. In fact, I would agree. He's right. The same exact rhetoric has been used by Democratic policymakers and by the Free Palestine movement is actually taking direct quotes from Hitler. That would, and that by definition is Nazi rhetoric. He talks about how the Zionist regime, supported by the British, is oppressing the Palestinians, and he goes on further and further and makes the same thing. It talks about from the river to the sea. These are exact quotes from Hitler. All right. And so when we sit here and you say, okay, well, one's Nazi rhetoric or would be Nazi rhetoric about Jews, and I agree with you and say, oh, they've actually said the exact same rhetoric as Hitler, that's Nazi rhetoric. Yes or no? If you use the exact same quote, is it?
So anyway,
the sky was blue. If Hitler said the sky was blue, we'd say saying the sky was blue.
Wow, what a coincidence that Hitler said the exact word.
So in the way I'm referencing it, Gibbs, I'm saying that we have a bunch of political influencers like Charlie Kirk, like Valentina Gomez, like these people, like a lot of people who are using Islam and Muslims as scapegoats, right, to blame all the issues that are happening in the country, down to the point where we have Valentina Gomez actively going in front of these people, saying that Islam is the religion of rape. They're raping your children. They're raping your women. If you don't want your women to be raped, you need to get these Muslims out of your country. And this is rhetoric that is shared by these people. And so, yeah, they're like, I don't understand how you want anyone from the LGBTQ community to share like an empathy for Kirk when he actively fights against them. I don't want how you want anyone from the Black community to fight against Charlie Kirk when he said all these things about DEI and Black women and so on and so forth. I don't know where you want this empathy extended just because someone died. Right.
Also, I want to say, by the way, it's funny. In my opening, I literally said the two things that elected Democrats like don't cuck out to the far left on ever is Israel and the political violence shit. That they're all pretty pro-Israel and they're all hardcore condemning the political violence.
Let's go to Dooby and then Cory.
I don't even know where to go from this actually. So I'm just curious. Like I don't want to make this an Israel-Palestine thing, right? I just don't understand how me criticizing Israel equals attacking the Jews in some way. Right? That's I think the fact that you're conflating Jews in general with a genocidal ethno-state is pretty anti-Semitic in itself.
That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing at all.
It's pretty fucked. It'd be like saying that all fights are like Nazis, right?
No, Dooby, that's not what I said. I said a direct quote from Hitler is a Nazi statement, and all he's claim was that, hey, if you were saying this about the Jews, it would be Nazi rhetoric. And then I quoted Hitler, which is the same thing that the Free Palestine movement and many on the left said. And your response was, oh, these are true statements. But it is a Nazi rhetoric, though. So you admit, you agree with it.
But if Hitler, again, like Prime said, if Hitler said the sky's blue, that wouldn't make the sky's blue Nazi rhetoric. It's just true. So if Hitler said,
but that's
I'm not aware.
You're going to say a thing that Hitler said. It was a fundamental platform.
You're on the Hitler famously known for saying from the river to the sea.
I haven't done any additional research, so this is wrong. This hallucination. Well, then I take it back. I take back what I'm about to say. Right? I just put into Google. Did Hitler say Israel was oppressing Palestine? Adolf Hitler never said, Google Gemini. Adolf Hitler never said that Israel was oppressing Palestine because the state of Israel did not exist during his lifetime.
Well, that would be makes sense because I said the British who had the mandate were oppressing for the Zionist power.
Nearly 3 years after Hitler's death in 1945.
So you're just misquoting me.
That misrepresents the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Okay, sure. Well, then
that's not what I said, is it? Okay. I said specifically, he said already, and you know this, you heard me say it. I said that he said the British were oppressing the Palestinians at the expense of the Zionist Jewish powers, and it's a Jewish conspiracy.
I'm sorry, you said the British. Okay, I heard Israel. No,
Israel and Palestine.
If you said that and I heard something differently, then I do apologize because I'm not trying to misrepresent you. But you're saying the British. Okay, so then when do leftists today talk about the British oppressing Palestine?
Well, here's a direct quote. While the Zionists try to make the world believe that the national consciousness of the Jew finds its satisfaction in the creation of Palestinian state, the Jews, again, slyly duped into dumb Gorin. It doesn't even matter. The heads build a Jewish state in Palestine for the purposes of living there. All they want is a central organization for the international world swindler. Something popped up. Endowed with its own sovereign rights, removed from the intervention of other states. A haven for convicted scoundrels and a university for budding crooks. It is a sign of their rising confidence and a sense of security that at the time when one section is still playing the German, French, or English, the other with open effrontery comes out of the Jewish faith. That is him directly talking about in reference to the British control with the British mandate of 1919 controlling Palestine and having their basically the Jewish masters in charge. That's what he's talking about. So when we talk about this, it's the same fundamental language as Hitler, and when people claim these things like what I've heard on this panel already today. So it is Nazi rhetoric, whether you like it or not. That is actual Nazi rhetoric.
Hold on. So leftists, right? Like Dooby, I won't call Dooby leftist, but like people like Dooby, use language like international swindlers, right? We talk about the British mandate. We talk about catch the whole quote. I was trying to listen. I'm sorry, but like we use that type of language, right? So that's the same, right? So talking about Israel at all, any criticism of Israel, then you would say is Nazi language. Then,
no,
right? Any criticism. Oh, okay. So then, what is fair criticism? Can we fairly say
I
Israel
think that
is okay? So
I'll give you an example of fair criticism, and this will build a bridge. I think that Dooby passionately believes they're committing a genocide. I think I'm not sold on that, but I think there's enough evidence that you can accurately portray it as a genocide in some cases. I think you can argue they're ethnically cleansing. I think those are accurate statements. You can do this in or to some degree, or have a degree of fact behind them. I think you can say that without using Nazi buzzwords or using exact Nazi quotes.
What's like a buzzword
happened here?
Sure.
Yeah, what's a
buzzword that we might have used? Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that anytime we're sitting here going, "Oh, it's a Nazi propagandist sort of thing," or in previous panels, Dooby's argued, "Oh, all these countries kick Jews out at certain points, X, Y, Z." I would argue that follows.
Wait, Dooby's never said all 109 countries kick Jews out one.
Yes,
Wait. Let
Dooby handle it. Go ahead, Dooby.
To be clear, yeah, I've mentioned that before because it's a true thing that happened in history. I've never said it was a good thing. I think it's a bad thing for people to be targeted for their ethnicity or their religion. It did happen as part of history. Hold on, just really quick.
Historical fact.
But you can say historical fact that it also be Nazi rhetoric, correct?
No, wait, hold on. Just really quick. Let me just finish what I'm saying.
So it's just not that hard of a concept.
Again, to be clear, I believe that Israel is a genocidal ethno-state run by Jewish supremacists. Again, a genocidal ethno-state. It just is. We can go down the details. And also, they for years now they've been enacting apartheid, right, on Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. I think this is bad. I think it's a bad thing to do, right? So you're saying that me using that's what I say. Now I've gone into detail about like I think I've had and to be clear, this I'm talking about like
also, I'm not accusing you of being Nazi for the record.
That's fine. Hold on, I'm talking about Israel and like Zionism as like a political ideology, right? Like a nationalist political ideology. I do have criticism of Judaism that I made before. Like I think Judaism, because of this chosen people thing, I think that it does have like this like strains of like ethno supremacy built into it. And I think this expresses itself through like religious or traditional Jewish culture sometimes. So I've definitely a criticism of like Judaism, the religion, but my criticism is never about like Jews generally. Like I don't do this like generalization bigotry thing for any group.
And for my thing, when you're saying like Nazi rhetoric, I actually clearly say pre-Holocaust rhetoric, as in I draw correlations between the type of scapegoating and like and narrative building that the Nazis were using to build like this fear of Jewish people to lead to something like the Holocaust. I see a direct correlation with the same thing that people do with Muslims and Islam in this country and in the UK. And I'm saying that we're using the same type of rhetoric, which is I believe is going to lead to at least a mass exodus of Muslims from the West in the way that we talk about it. So yeah, like it's not so much that I'm calling people Nazis. I'm saying like this type of rhetoric is what led to Nazis. Is you have this group of people that you're othering completely. You're blaming them for things like mass rape of your children. Yeah, it's going to lead to huge problems.
Okay. All right. So, sorry. Was Cory? Did you have your hand up at some point?
At some point, yes.
So maybe 20 minutes ago. At some point.
That's okay. I'm not a super chat, so you know. Rewinding, going back. Okay. what occurred with Gibbs, I think, was super interesting. You know, I asked to one of my arguments of like the right will never hold themselves accountable. I asked an open-ended question to Gibbs of like any political violence from the right that you want to take on. He said nothing, and then I extended the exact same question to Lactoid.
No, I said
and, you know,
Gibbs, but you just didn't like that.
No. Okay, did you say
Then you
anything?
further- yeah, I said Timothy Veigh, and you're like, well, the last 20 years. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
now,
yeah,
like,
I said since Trump was elected. Okay, yeah, that is true. Okay, and then you said, well, I can't think of, or you know, gave like what some obscure example. But then when I posed the question to
Dylan
Lactoid,
Roof is excused. Okay, go ahead, come on.
Okay, either way, I'll continue my point. But then I went to Lactoid, and then he brought up an example, and then you eventually took ownership of that. Okay, where the
Because it was a good example.
Why did exactly? So then answer my question,
Wait, so you have a
which I
problem
don't
with
think you answered.
Hold on, wait, you have a problem-
Why did it take Lactoid bringing it to your attention for you to take ownership of it, or not
Well,
you, but rather to actually bring it up that this is something that the right
Sure.
should-
I'll tell you why. It's real simple. I mean, if I asked you to list like every example of leftist violence that ever happened, or I asked you to whatever, and then you listed or said, "Hey, list the leftist violence," and you said this one, right, that just happened, and then you're like, "Okay, cool." Or if I said like one of the biggest bombings in history, like Timothy Veigh, and then you further narrow it down to Trump, and I just don't have one off the top of my head on hand, you know, no, because I don't have that right in a second. And then Lactoid brings it up, and I take ownership immediately of it afterwards. This is bad faith. He said it. I said, okay, yeah, it makes sense to me. Like, and you're sitting here going, oh,
wait.
well,
so
why don't you?
Wait.
Because I'm sitting here like, sitting here going, oh yeah,
were you not aware of it at the time before I asked you the question? Like that was just not on your radar at all.
I mean, I'm sure I was aware of it. I'm sure it just wasn't in the front of my mind.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, if you recall how the panel started, Prime asked me two questions at the beginning. He goes, one about the link thing, and I go, oh yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? And I had to go back in there and go reread the chat. And then he goes, what about the other thing, the other topic? And I'm like, what the fuck is he? And I go, and like, if you're expecting me to have just everything at the front of my knowledge ready to go every second,
I don't think everything. I literally just asked an open-ended question. And so, okay.
I mean, anybody example, I claimed it. Like, what more do you want?
Okay. Fine. Well, I'll move on. And then, okay, maybe to my point about, you know, the right will never criticize themselves. What just occurred now, Lactoid, do you agree with that sentiment?
Well, so you're saying the right will never criticize themselves, and then you use me as an example of somebody who brought up a good example. Like,
No,
I'm on the right.
I mean, what occurred with Gibbs and Dooby.
I don't think Gibbs. Yeah, I think when you ask, like, put somebody on the spot and ask like a very specific question, they give an answer that's like outside your time frame, and then you say, no, I want this within this time frame. Sometimes they can't think of an example right away. I was able to think of an example.
The interaction between Gibbs and Dooby that just took place there. What is your stance?
But the Israel thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with some of the extrapolations that Gibbs is making with Israel.
Oh, okay.
I do think that you can criticize Islam, and I also think you can criticize Judaism. I think when it comes to Jewish people, it's a little bit like you got to be a little bit more careful because Jewish is also designating an ethnic group as well as a religion, as well as a religious ideology.
I'm not done.
No.
Wait.
And so,
would you agree that quoting
is a threat to the West,
quoting a literal,
and so on and so forth.
King Nazi,
this is
like
bad,
verbatim
right?
almost, is a
Nazi.
Would you agree that King Nazi,
King Nazi.
big dick Nazi God over here,
Yeah,
Hitler,
okay,
would you agree that if he says something, that would be Nazi rhetoric?
Okay.
not all.
Well,
not
always.
not
Maybe when
necessarily.
he's I'm sure that when he's talking to Ava Braun, how much he wants to fuck her while he's on heroin.
Yeah. That was not Nazi rhetoric.
But when he's over here talking about, the insidious Jewish international plot.
Wait.
That's pretty Nazi. That's pretty Nazi.
When did anyone use that within this panel? We never use that language.
We talk about the Zionist plot to sit here and keep up the national Jewish ethno state. That is exactly the same sort of language.
Literally what it is.
Literal verbatim to what Hitler said.
That's not verbatim. You don't know what the word verbatim is, okay? You don't know what
I can find more quotes about that's going to say the exact same thing.
This is verbatim.
Yeah, verbatim means word for word, and I say it's word for word.
You say phrase A and then phrase B, and they don't match.
They're identical.
Right? So they're not verbatim.
They are identical.
Stop that, right? Let's
They're
knock
identical.
that shit off.
I mean, I understand you're confused on what
not,
identical is.
Yeah, okay. So you don't understand what verbatim is. You don't get it, right? You're like vague sentence A, right? And vague sentence B. They're different, right? But they're verbatim. Okay, all right. So we establish that part. And talking about Zionism was a political ideology, and criticizing that, right, isn't criticizing Jewish people, right? We have Jewish brothers and sisters on the front lines against Zionism. And once again, like Dooby said, right, you're criticizing this political ideology with Judaism itself, right, which is extremely anti-Semitic. And again, I'm offended, guys. I gotta put it out there. I gotta register my offense. My offense is anti-Semitic behavior that's happening right here on my stream. Hey, if Twitch officials are watching this, I want to say I condemn that rhetoric. I condemn that anti-Semitism, right? Because I can understand that my Jewish brothers and sisters, right, around the globe are whole individual people, right, who don't all have a group think, right? I don't follow all one ideology. That would be extremely anti-Semitic, and I don't do that, right? But unfortunately, a panelist here went a little too far. And the PrimeCayes channel wants to apologize for that. Sorry. Moving on.
Lactoid. So it's not a criticism, right? Like if someone's saying things like the Islam's not compatible in the West, Islam is being used to slit the throat of America. We need a full moratorium. Islam is taking over the West. We must stand against the united growth of Islam. These aren't criticisms of the religion. This is a narrative painting of the religion and therefore of the people that are of that
not
religion.
Necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Right? Islam is taking over the West isn't saying Muslims are taking over the West.
It is a very, I agree. It's a very harsh criticism of an ideology.
What's the criticism?
That the criticism is that this ideology has components of it that are antithetical to like their idea of the West, right? And the best example of this, I guess they're going to point to Islam's effect in like Western European countries and how like Islam has influenced like politics there, how Islam has influenced certain criminal behavior there, right? Like they're going to point in that and say, hey, look, like this is we don't want this. We don't want this ideology like propagating and coming into America.
When you say something is taking over the West, that is an aggressive language. That isn't charging language.
I mean, again, it's aggressive, but it is towards like it is very specifically like toward. Yes, it's aggressive language. I think it's very specifically towards a ideology that I've got plenty of criticisms of.
When people say fascism is taking over in America,
well, you can criticize actual fascists. That's fine. The problem is like if you make the unfair link between people who are not fascists and fascists, just like by the way, I think it was unfair. By the way, it was unfair when people made the inherent connection between Arabs and Muslims, because not all Arabs are Muslims,
but most of them are.
Wow.
But sure, most of them, but not all of them.
But still, the implication is that Muslims are taking over the West, and so therefore we need to that builds what type of narrative against Muslims? What's
Islam?
Exactly. Like
they're using the term Islam.
And who follows Islam? Muslims.
This is what Christopher Hitchens was talking about. This is Richard Dawkins has talked about this. There's a large academic base that is heavily critical of Islam.
Nonfon, you gotta push it sometimes,
and that's fine.
Just do it.
You gotta accept.
This is like exactly the same thing that like Gibbs was talking about earlier, where it's like, oh, these people like say everything up to like the most extreme thing and like try to get away with it or whatever. Like Charlie Kirk like is the type of person that is gonna like say all these like insane things about Muslims because he does believe like America is a white country and should remain majority white, but because he says Muslim.
Christian.
Even though, like Christian, it's like we can retreat to like, actually, he just has like the same issues as like Sam Harris. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure Charlie Kirk, even if he doesn't express the most extreme outward examples of it, like probably does sincerely believe. I'm sure we can find clips of him saying at the very least America should remain a white majority nation, and we should.
Who's the Charlie Kirk on the left? Just real quick.
The Charlie Kirk on the left?
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow.
Who?
Rachel Maddow.
MSNBC.
That's the example I can think of.
You're going to be completely dishonest with your rhetoric today. I get it. I see it.
You asked me a question and I answered it directly. Like I'm answering questions.
I think you lied.
Okay, you can. I did not lie. I'm telling you that's my opinion. How do you lie about an opinion? First of all,
what's the kid that was smashing on
Rachel Maddow is a MSNBC political commentator.
What was the man?
She's the alternative to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoever that
Nice.
Manwar kid is, that's
She's like pretty aggressive,
Corey.
but like she's not like
No
beyond
one
like
knows
the,
her.
the,
She had no
the
fucking,
scope
she
of the
had no
mainstream.
fucking reach. No ability.
Nobody
No one
knows
who the
Rachel
fuck-
Maddow.
Yeah, no, no
Harry
one,
Scissor,
who
that's
the
what
fuck-
it's
who the
Harry
fuck is
Scissors.
listening to Rachel Maddow.
Sisson.
More
I believe.
people,
Being
more
radicalized
people.
by
I bet you more
Maddow.
people know about Rachel
I thought
Maddow
you were at least
than
gonna
fucking
say
Destiny.
I thought you were at least gonna say Destiny.
Let's go.
No.
Let's go.
No,
to
Nick Fuentes is closer. Like he's like the right wing version of like Nick Fuentes or of Destiny. Maybe like Sam.
Who the
Hyde,
fuck's the
like-
right wing version of Hassan or
Oh my-
Haz
I don't
or
know
fucking
how-
Hinkle?
We'll take us go. We'll take
Is
us- let's
Hinkle
go to
really?
our
I don't even know
Corey.
what fucking Hinkle is.
Communist.
Kind of.
Corey.
American Communist Party. What do you
Guys,
okay.
if you're not half Chinese,
Alright.
like then don't talk. Corey.
I appreciate.
I mean, I'm
that,
technically
by the way.
Asian.
Okay.
That might have been offensive. Okay, maybe now someone can take religious offense.
I'm
Literally
definitely-
Middle Eastern. I claim Asian.
I'm not going to touch that. So, Lactoid. So I have a question for you. You know, in my vein of like calling out the right, or like can the right hold itself accountable? I'm curious. Maybe a little bit of an experiment. So, about a month ago, I believe, approximately, someone on the panel, okay, I think it was Grid One. They said that America is not a democracy; it's a republic. I believe you're a lawyer. Do you agree with that? Would you sign off on that?
It's technically true that we're a republic, sure.
Okay, but it's not a democracy. As in, you sign off on the whole thing. You, as a lawyer, you would put yourself on the line. I want you to say it. Say it.
It depends.
No,
It
no, no,
depends on what you mean by democracy. Like this is a semantic game that I
say
did.
it.
I did not engage in that discussion for a very
Why
good
not?
reason.
Why not?
Because it's a semantic game. Like, what do you mean by democracy? What do you mean by republic? Technically, we are a republic. We also have
Okay,
democracy.
Okay. So
sort of,
so is that? Do you
but
think
not-
that is? Would you say that is a true statement? Would you sign off on it? Would you actually own it yourself?
Yeah, sure. It's technically true.
Okay. So
Okay.
I want you. I
But
want
like
you to sign off-
colloquially, I would
No,
also
no.
call us a democracy.
I want you to sign off on it then. If you think it's true, would you actually truly you would put your name
Bruh.
behind it as a lawyer?
It's like a
Bruh.
constitutional republic
Yeah,
with-
bruh.
with
But as a
democracy
lawyer,
pivots.
you would put your name on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the answer that I just said. Technically, we
No,
are a republic.
Put your name on it.
Bro, calm your tits.
Guys,
I'm not.
Calm, your tits are flapping. They're all over the place. They're smacking you in the face. You gotta calm them
You
down.
want to go down this road?
Being-
Calm
being
down
calm
the
is not
tits.
being right, Lactoid.
Calm down the tits.
Being calm is
Calm
Put
the
on one.
tits.
You want
Put
to
on-
The tits,
put on a bra,
the tits, they're
okay?
flapping.
I will
You
gladly
gotta
take my
bra
shirt
them.
off. I'll gladly take my shirt off. You want to go?
You gotta
down that
get the
road?
brassiere.
Yeah,
You gotta lock him down.
Let's see who
Flex
needs the
on 'em,
brassiere. You want to
Corey.
go right now? You want to go?
Yeah, are you challenging me to a fight? What the fuck's going on?
Please take your
Exactly.
shirt off.
So
So stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me, and let me actually give you an answer.
Let him respond.
Let me give you an answer. Okay. On the most technical sense, we are a republic, not like a pure democracy. Colloquially, I would say that we're a democracy and that we're a republic.
Okay,
It's
so
not.
then-
It's not a position that I argue.
Okay, so you don't agree with that assessment. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
Technically, it's true, but
Okay,
like
so, so then sign off on it. Put your name behind it. Be a man. Be a man.
What do you
Put
mean?
your
Put my
name
name
on the
behind
bitch.
it?
Wait,
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Wait,
I
wait, are
answered.
you arguing that it can't be? Are
Here's
you
my
arguing
point.
it
What's
can't
it-
be
give me your
a
point.
Bail him out,
with
Gibbs. Do not bail
democracy
him out.
aspects?
Give me your point.
My point is, okay, what is your name, Lactoid?
Lactoid.
No. What is your name? Because everyone knows my name. What is your name?
Lactoid.
He called
Yeah,
you
yeah,
a bitch.
exactly. You are a coward. I want you to
Because
sign
I'm not
off.
doxing myself.
He
Yes,
called you
yes.
a bitch.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
name is Gibbs.
Wait. Why you're not giving your name? Why you're not giving your name? Tell me why. Give me the
Because
reason.
Charlie Kirk was just shot. This one might try it on me.
So you are afraid, right? Tell me. Can you say that you are afraid?
I'm afraid of like left wing hacks. Yeah.
Okay, so you are a coward, right?
I don't
Because
think
you
being
are-
afraid of death makes you a coward necessarily.
So why can I give my name? So then would you say that I have more courage than you in this context?
Well, you know, you're the left wing. You people
No.
aren't being
I will
killed.
gladly criticize the left wing. I will gladly say that anyone who seriously
Yeah, but
wants
you're
to
on
respond
the
is a
left.
moron. Okay, I will
Okay,
gladly
what-
say that.
Oh wow, you called them a moron. I'm sure they're gonna come after you for that.
Yeah. So what is your name? Will you sign off on it?
I'm not gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
exactly.
dox myself.
And also, I'll
What's gotten into you?
I don't even have guns. Okay, Lactoid has guns. That's the point. Is I
Ali, what the? This is insanity,
no,
Ali. What are you? You cannot sign off on this.
This is not
insane.
because
I'm
you
watching
treat
Cory
politics
spaz.
like a game. Okay, you are literally probably using your gamer tag in this political arena.
That's true.
I'm not
That's
using
true.
my actual name.
I'm actually using my gamer tag.
Yeah, exactly my point. You will not criticize Grid One. You will not call him out for his BS because you will not sign off. You will not put
You
your
were
name
arguing
in
with
what he
him.
said.
I just said he's technically accurate, but like colloquially, I don't think it's important to argue about.
Say
What do you believe
your
is
name.
accurate?
I'm not putting my actual
Exactly.
name.
Oh, because you're a coward.
Justin Gibbs,
Bite
think
that bullet.
Grid One
Bite that bullet.
said correctly.
I don't think it makes me a
was
coward.
You're
constitutional
absolutely a
republic
coward.
with democracy, like fundamental aspects to it. There you go. How's that? I said
Okay.
my full name and we did the
So-
thing. What is that gonna? Does that make you feel better? Like,
You want to give me
All
your
right.
name, Gibbs?
yeah, I just said it. I, Justin Gibbs, believe that the United States,
Your name
based
is
on all my
Justin?
knowledge, Justin's
Yeah.
first name. It's already public. It is a
That's-
Corey, can you stop being
constitutional
toxically
republic.
masculine?
Hispanic
Corey,
Constitutional
thing I've
republic
heard.
with
You don't know anything about being masculine.
There's adopted
you're being
aspect.
toxically masculine right now, Corey. I want
Too afraid.
you gotta tone down the
That's
toxic
the point. That's the
masculinity.
point. Because Lactoid
It's toxic.
is
No, it's
using
fundamental.
a pseudonym because he didn't want to be held accountable for anything that he says.
I don't want to get shot.
So okay.
And I'm willing to put my neck
James
out
Coffin
there.
I'm
would
not
like to
so
ask.
tough that I can't deflect bullets.
Exactly. You're not
okay,
so tough.
We got
You're not so tough.
to move on from this.
Getting,
one. Move on.
yes, I don't care how many push-ups you do, Corey. You can't deflect bullets.
We gotta. I don't know.
I can definitely deflect
have you
bullets.
seen his pecs?
I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either. But like, I'm assuming they're pretty good. But,
I was trying to,
but
but you guys
anyway,
wouldn't help me with
hold
it,
on.
getting him to take the
so
shot.
so hey, don't worry. All right, I got Corey. I got you. Right. So
Corey, take your shot.
what I've just done is I've Googled the most common Canadian names. So Lactoid's name from here on out is Theodore Fournier. Fournier. I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
That is an insane common name.
Fournier. Theodore Fournier. So Theodore here, right, is being a coward and won't put his name.
You give Theodore.
Theodore Fournier. That's his name, right? It's always been his name. He's just been too afraid. I've
Don't wear
doxed
it
him.
out.
Wait, Corey, are you brave, Corey? Are you said you're
I'm
really
more brave than
masculine, right?
you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you
Theodore
please say
Fournier.
your social insurance number since you're so brave and your address?
Boy, do you
Do they
think?
have
Okay.
social security
we-
numbers?
we
Is
could
this a
go down.
game to you?
No,
You
You gotta give your social insurance number and your address.
Wait, do you think the person that goes up on stage on a mask, the person that goes up on stage, and the person that's petrified to go on stage, those all represent the amount of fear?
I don't have a mask. You're just asking me to
Yeah,
provide a little bit more
but wait,
information.
wait,
I'm
you
asking
agree-
you now to provide a
agree-
little bit more
you
information.
agree-
What's
you
your
agree-
social
no,
insurance number?
Let's go
And
one
address.
to one. Let's go one
Address.
to one.
Address.
Let's go one to one. Let's go one to one.
What's your address?
Let's-
What's your
let's go.
address?
I'll even give my postal code. I'll even say
What?
there's enough information. There's enough information on my social media.
Let's just dox
you
ourselves
can
completely.
Let's
locate
dox
me.
ourselves?
You can locate me within about half a square mile. Okay.
I don't want your actual fucking address.
Well, exactly,
What's gotten
'cause
into you?
I'm pointing out that
This is the
you-
weirdest point you've ever made.
No, it's
It's hypocrisy.
because you don't
I
actually
think.
get it. Okay.
It's not. It's hypocrisy because I'm not doxing myself.
The
Ali.
point. Wait, I
Because
just asked-
no,
I
wait.
just-
I'll explain after. At least what I think I'm.
Oh, wait, you can go ahead and explain now. Nothing
Well, okay,
actually like relevant being said.
okay, can I just ask you a quick, Corey? Do you think that the United States is a congressional republic
Oh
with
my
a
God.
democracy aspects?
think-
Yes or no?
Gibbs, real quick. I think Corey asked Lactoid about a stance that he knows that you probably more or less agree with, right? And he's asking
It's
if
not a
you're willing to
controversial stance.
stand- Wait, well, you're not willing to stand by it, even with your online moniker, right? Even with your moniker, you're giving qualifiers and being like, well, technically this and all Corey's asking is
I'm
like,
giving
hey,
a nuanced answer.
I know. Well, he's asking you for a less nuanced answer, right? As in,
Well,
like,
you just-
Sometimes answers are nuanced.
Well, I mean,
When
to
did
be
you
fair-
stop? Did
wait,
you stop
wait.
beating your wife, Ali?
No. Huh?
Did you stop beating your
Re-
wife?
recently, yeah, she got tired of it.
Yes or no? Did you stop beating your wife?
Recently,
Okay.
yes, she got tired of it.
Okay.
She
Well,
asked nicely.
nice
and she
meme,
stopped doing
but
it.
you understand the point of my question. Sometimes
I
questions are more than
understand
yes
the
or
point
no.
of your question, but that's not what he asked you, right?
Did you
He asked
stop
for-
fucking dogs?
He asked, I mean, not so long ago, right? It's still a hobby. Anyways, so yeah, like when he's at you know that it's a fairly simple like question to answer. Like, do you stand by the fact that we're not a democracy and
With my
we are
real
not-
name.
No, he asked you beginning just to see if you'd stand by it, and then as he's pushed you further and further and further to test the fact that you were
I will
less willing
stand by
to stand
everything
by your
I
points.
say with my own name.
Yeah. To be fair,
So,
he went kind of hard.
this
Hold on, I
is-
think was
no,
a
this
test.
is, like, unhinged.
Wait,
Real quick.
this was a test. This was a test to see how willing you are to stand by your principles, considering that he's willing to stand by his
Wait,
principles with
this
his.
is-
do y'all
yeah,
just wait? Can I just
Very
ask a
bad point.
Wait, real
Very
quick.
weak
Do
point.
y'all disagree?
Guys,
Do
we gotta
you
move
do
past
y'all
this.
Yes, let me
do y'all
just finish the
disagree?
fucking point. So
Well, do y'all
you weren't
disagree
even
that
willing
it's
to stand by
constitutional?
the
Very
principle
weak.
that-
Very weak
I'm sorry,
point.
I want to
Bruce.
get past that. I want to
I-
get past. I want to get past this point. I don't say.
Nobody
It's fine.
rational is going to look at that and
Let's-
think there's some
hold on,
expectation
hold
of me
on.
to dox
Everyone-
myself.
Everyone,
Once
insane.
again, that wasn't the point.
everyone
Yeah.
means everyone. If you're a person, shut up. If not, then I'm going to oppress you, right? If you're not a person, talk. Then so I can oppress you. You're not a person. Okay, great. I want to move past this point. Okay, all right. This has been
What
a hard
point?
tangent. I don't know anymore. I honestly don't know.
Wait,
It's
I'm
been
just
a hard
confused. Is that
tangent,
not what the U.S.
right?
is?
Oh my
It's a
god.
democratic republic. It's a democratic republic. We all know.
So
this is a
it,
No,
democratic
it's not a
okay,
democracy,
cool. Then we
Brian.
agree. It is a
It's-
constitutional republic with democratic thing leaning. So it could be a democratic republic, constitutional republic.
The
Those
question
are.
wasn't
It's
That's
to
a
you,
statement. Hold on,
Gibbsy.
sorry.
You
The
just said
statement,
it's not a democracy.
We're a Republican, not a democracy. It's a nonsense statement. It's a nonsense statement. We're obviously a democratic republic.
Lactoid will
right?
never
We
call it
use
out because he's a coward.
democracy to power the republic.
I'm not going to
Right?
call it whether it's a republic
what
or a
else would you
democracy.
do it with? Yeah, like it's amazing. So,
Clearly the most controversial issue of our time.
we will
Well, if
move
it's not
past it.
controversial, then
We will move
endorse
past
it.
Prime, are
We'll
you a
move past
coward?
it. Hey,
You don't put your real name
everyone-
out there.
Everyone, shut up. No more. We're done with it. Thank you. I'd like to get back to the topic. Dooby's bored. Okay, look at him. Look at his face.
Look.
He's bored. I don't like it.
Well, because he's a
Bothers me.
coward. He's a bored coward, Prime. That's
Okay.
why.
He's the bravest frog I've ever known. So,
In fact, there's only two
Well, hold
real
on.
men
Okay,
on this whole panel.
I want.
Right.
I don't want to. No, don't. You're not going to bring this up, please. You're not gonna start. It has nothing to do with democracy.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in something else then. Have you guys? Did you guys condemn the attack on Kyle Rittenhouse?
I'm talking. Besides,
And who? When do you get
not
attacked?
fun? Not fun.
Sure.
You want to say
Wait.
something?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with that?
Okay, Jared Coffin would love to ask Theodore a question.
Wow,
okay,
three
because
real
he is, fearful that the
I'd say
Ukrainian
my real name, but
regime.
people can't pronounce it.
All right, the Ukrainian regime is gonna come after him. Do you think Donald Trump has done anything meaningful after this attack to try to tone down his rhetoric?
I'm gonna read the last point of my intro. The Civil War rhetoric is dumb. Trump also needs to calm down the shit he says. The right said a lot of bad shit. Stay peaceful and destroy these losers with ideas. No vengeance.
Okay, so just to be clear, you don't think Trump has actually done? You think Trump needs to tone down his shit too?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's more meaningful that Trump,
Can
who
we read
again
it again?
is president, and Trump, who probably has a unique amount of control over his base compared to any other politician, I think, is being this sort of reckless, I guess would be the word, versus people on blue sky?
I think that given that in my intro, I very specifically called out Trump. I'm not going to say that just because Trump holds the presidency, that this means he represents some kind of significant cultural zeitgeist that isn't represented. On millions of people. I'm just going to say millions of people on the left who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I think that this particular shooting, I don't like Trump's reaction. I really liked his reaction when the Democrats in Minnesota got shot, and he condemned it right away. And no right-wingers, at least to my knowledge, it definitely wasn't a widespread thing. Maybe you can find a couple, okay? But it was not a widespread thing where the right wing was not celebrating this death. I think that when you have a fuck ton of the left celebrating this death, this is, I think, what is pissing the right off a lot. And is it good that they're getting pissed off? Is it good that this kind of rhetoric is developing? No, it's not. And that's why I took the time to add it into my intro that it's not good.
Are these the same deaths? Do you think?
Now I was asked a question, right? It's asked Lactoid Hour. That's fine. Tell me, which Democrat politician condemned Rosenbaum for attacking Kyle Rittenhouse?
I don't think that's. First of all, that wasn't a politically motivated
Yeah, it's not.
attack.
It wasn't.
Was it really?
The
It was
BLM, the Kenosha BLM riot that had been
So,
stoked, by
Maxine-
racial
Wait,
misinformation
was the
about the
person
left-wing
who-
media for decades.
Maxine Waters specifically.
And so
Sure.
hold on. So you have
What's
this left. You have this left-wing misinformation-inspired riot. Okay, and when the riot gets out of control and a minor is attacked by a lunatic, did any Democrat politician condemn Rosenbaum attacking Kyle Rittenhouse?
No.
Or
well,
did they
I'm sure
shit
there
on
was some.
Rittenhouse?
I'm sure there were
No,
technically. I'm sure there were technically
Fine.
some, but there was a
Find
disagreement.
me one.
over
Did Biden do it as the president? Did Biden do it?
No, Biden didn't, because there was a disagreement over
Did
the
Trump?
facts of what actually happened there, right? And the people who attacked Rittenhouse, were they just loot? Did they actually have a politically motivated reason to go after Rittenhouse, or were they just looters who wanted to get out whatever car dealership he was protecting?
Okay. So they were specifically at least Rosenbaum was not in the middle of looting something and Rittenhouse was stopping him. He specifically was chasing down Rittenhouse because he, first of all, yes, he was very aggressive, and there's videos of him yelling at Rittenhouse earlier in the day. Now, 3/4 of following the trial, following the evidence in which it was crystal clear that Rittenhouse was attacked by this psycho, that was taking place during a riot that had happened because of left-wing misinformation about race and crime and about police interactions with black people. Okay, and 3/4 of Democrats thought that Kyle Rittenhouse should have been convicted. 3/4.
Do you think
for defending himself against an attacker, and they didn't condemn the attacker.
Do you think the perception that Kyle Rittenhouse was guilty is more defendable than the perception that the 2020 election was stolen, or the perception that the January 6th was an inside job, or the perception about any number of attacks by right-wingers was an inside job or a false flag by Israel, or any of this shit that you see on the right?
Yes, I think the misinformation, and this is the point that I brought in my intro that I was going to talk about. I think the misinformation has been about specifically police interactions with black people is particularly virulent and has caused a tremendous amount of destruction. One of the main inspirations for the BLM riots back in 2020 that caused over $2 billion worth of damage, that killed 25 people, right? One of the main causes of this was this belief that's been pushing the American people that unarmed black men are being hunted by the police. And when unarmed black men are being hunted by the police, this can justify violence, right? There was a study done. According to the far left of Americans, they believe tens of thousands of unarmed black men are being killed by the police every year. According to left-wing Americans, they think thousands of unarmed black men are being killed by the police every year. Even among conservatives, they think hundreds of unarmed black men are being killed by the police every year. The real number in 2019, which is when the study was done, between 19 and 27, depending on how you measure it. So the entire country is under this mass delusion, okay, that unarmed black Americans are being hunted by the police, and this is what caused the BLM riots. And there was during these BLM riots that caused billions of dollars worth of damage, that caused dozens of deaths, and that which Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked by people who are participating in this riot. And did politicians come out and condemn Rosenbaum, this guy who, by the way, since the trial, we learned he was a voracious pedophile who had been released on just horrible person on many different grounds. But no, they don't condemn him. There's no official statements coming out about how Kyle Rittenhouse was the victim of an attack from this mob of actual criminals. No, they condemned Rittenhouse. 3/4 of Democrats were saying Rittenhouse should have gone to prison. Even the lieutenant governor in my state condemned the result of the trial as being wrong and unfair. When if anybody who followed the trial, it was absolutely clear that Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent and that he was defending himself against horrible, violent criminals.
Americans do overestimate anything that's just commonly in the news cycle. Americans vastly overestimate the amount of money that goes to foreign aid simply because things like the aid we give to Ukraine and Israel are in the news cycle constantly. I think the reason Americans were overestimating the number of unarmed black people killed every year, which I do agree the left bears some responsibility for perpetuating some of that stuff. It's just because broadly that was the thing that was in the news cycle during the 2020s, during the summer of love. Obviously, Americans are stupid. Okay. But I don't think
the politicians condemn it.
I don't think holistically I would say the politicians on the left condemned, for example, the belief that more unarmed black Americans were killed.
No. Sorry. After the trial, why didn't Biden come out after the trial and say I accept the decision, I condemn the attack on Kyle Rittenhouse. He defended himself. That was the evidence.
Biden had a disagreement with the facts of the case. or Biden didn't feel a need to comment on it because he knew his
What
base had a
he disagreed
disagreement.
how?
Probably
What
because we
facts?
don't want to. Probably
Well,
because we don't
I
want to
don't know
endorse
Biden's-
underage kids going
what
cross
fact?
state lines with guns to defend property that isn't theirs. Like probably because we
no.
don't want to endorse that type of action that leads.
I
to
think you're spreading
having to
misinformation.
defend themselves, quote unquote. What's the
I don't.
misinformation?
Yeah.
I don't want to do a whole count.
No, okay. So when I want to bring up the specific, hold on. This is the point. This is what the current mainstream kind of DGG talking point has been. Okay, like you can't blame us streamers. Look at the president. The president does the bad thing. We can do anything we want because president didn't do the thing that we want the president to do. Okay, what about this very specific example in which the facts are absolutely on my side on this, and how Kyle Rittenhouse is absolutely innocent, and anybody who actually paid attention and looked at that trial, anybody who actually looks at the evidence knows that he was unjustly attacked, and the Democrats, both at the establishment level and the 3/4 of the actual Democrat population, shit on Kyle Rittenhouse for that and continue to do that.
Hold on, sorry, let's ask. Hey, does anyone agree with DGG?
Nonfon was definitely making those points multiple times during this discussion.
About what?
About why are you condemning the streamers? Look at the president.
No. So I think I don't know if that's holistically agreeing with DGG. The point is, I think it's probably more relevant. I think it's probably more condemnatory when someone that you voted for, someone who is president of the United States, and someone who I do think has a unique ability to control his base, unlike comparable to even most other politicians, is not doing anything significant to lower the temperature. Meanwhile, the issues that we complain about on the other side, although Lactoid is, in fairness, bringing up politicians with Rittenhouse, are mostly people who are unelected leftist on blue sky.
I'm bringing up Biden. I'm bringing up my governor. I'm bringing up any governor.
Biden should have been in jail. I know, we agree. But
I disagree with that, by the way. I don't want Biden to get arrested, okay? Just to be clear.
Okay. Then you're not going far enough, right? Let the hate flow. Biden should be in jail. We should put him in the hate.
This is the right wing being more conciliatory than the left is, Nonfon, by the way. I'm saying Biden should not go to prison. The left is saying that Biden should
go to prison.
That's because correct me.
And I want his roommate to be Donald Trump. So once again, right, the guy on the left, right, is consistent, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Prime. Like this is like,
and so should President Biden, right? There's room for all. There's room for a lot more American presidents, right? How many
Prime, you want every
fit in the Hague? I'd love to find out. Actually,
right, Prime. You want basically every U.S. president who participated in the war on terror to be in prison, right? That's the motivation.
Yes. Should President Bush have gone to the Hague? Absolutely, 100%. He like our friend Lactoid said. Now, I'm not sure necessarily if this is quote unquote fascist. I'm not sure if I would attach that label to it. I could be convinced, right? But at the very least, Lactoid was right when he lied us into wars. Right, that killed over 1 million people, displaced, destabilized.
Yeah, Iraq was pretty fucked up. Yeah,
lied about the WMDs, right?
Caused this invasion of Islam to the West.
People, false to the United Nations. Yeah, actually,
I think you'd have to
should be in the Hague. Absolutely.
I think you'd have to be more specific with what actual war crimes he committed for him to actually go to the Hague. But I mean, I understand the point. I just think. That's
invasion started with him, right?
There's also
the invasion of Muslims started with the bombing in Iraq, right?
The what did?
The invasion of Muslims, right? Like the influx of refugees probably started with the bombing attacks that we had in like Iraq and Afghanistan. We bring a lot of refugees over here, and then we complain about this. Technically, like George Bush is the reason we should be yelling at him.
Hold on. First of all, a large influx of refugees came from the Kurds after Saddam Hussein was gassing them for a while, and they became our translators, and we used them more. So yeah, I would say it's a little more nuanced than that. But also, the Hague is a bitch, so there's why.
Here to you, Nonfon, right? Just type this in. Didn't do any research, right? So if it's incorrect, I apologize. Hey, prompt to Google Gemini: is starting a war under false pretenses a war crime? Starting a war under false pretenses can constitute the crime of aggression, which is a serious violation of international law. Though the act itself is typically called a war crime.
I don't think that's I could be wrong. I don't know if that's sort of individually prosecutable, like at the ICC. Like the cases that the ICJ and ICC have tried before are all like people from Yugoslavia who have like they themselves individually like ordered the massacres of people, not like the head of state who has like kind of broadly supported a war.
And they rarely prosecute anyone of any actual power, right? We pick on the African states and one time a European state. But we don't. The generally international law is used against the weaker ones, the weaker nations, rather than anyone else. Yeah, whatever.
Why is that?
We understand this about how that works. But let's move back. I would really like to move back to the topic at hand. And okay, so I want to apologize to Lacto because I don't want to. I see you were trying to make a larger point. Previously, it's not like you're okay, just. I know you're trying to make a larger point. But there are other things I want to get to. And first of all, hey guys, if you want to us to react to any of your comments, if you have something you want to say, want the like you disagree with the panel is saying, or agree, or whatever, got something, consider using a super chat, right? YouTube.com/PrimeCayes. Give us a super chat. We'll throw your super chat on screen and we will react to it. So consider supporting the channel that way. Sub to the channel, give bits or give subs. If you're on YouTube or sorry, Twitch, all the time. Can never get these right after years. But on Twitch, subscribe. Give bits or give subs. If you want to help us that way on YouTube, super chats are a great way to support the channel. So shout out to anyone who does. Okay, so but back to it. So I wanted to do this a long time ago, but we're all over the place. Okay. I'm not even sure which one I should do first. Let's start with the trans ideology comment that Gibbs made all the way back in his opening statement. Well, before I start throwing accusations, which you know I love to do, Gibbs. Before I do that, I'd like you to expand on what you meant by that.
Actually, that's a really good point here. So when I brought up, so this is the reason I brought that up is because I just did a panel on Saturday, and one of the people was one was a big DGG guy. I don't remember. I think it was Dan was his name or something. He's like works with I can't remember the other guy, Hangman maybe. I don't know. The other guy though, his name is Joey Atkins. He's a lawyer and senatorial candidate for the Democratic Party in Florida. Okay. And so we were arguing about policy, and I brought up like the transgender athletes in sports, right? And this is a policy that some people have pushed on the left, like from the high level. I brought up also the crime thing, and like Badani wanting to push like no crime, whatever. California had under $1,100. It's going to increase crime. Well, if you don't prosecute for that, it's going to lower crime. All these things. So I brought up Democratic policy, and then when I brought this up, and those are like Dooby said. Factually true statements. I can make a correlation. Yes, these are the policies people on the left have pushed. And then when I said that, he goes, "Oh, that's dishonest and inflammatory phrasing," which I find interesting because in that case, a person who's actually a member of the Democratic Party and running for senatorial office is saying that is incendiary language when we're basically describing a factual policy they have that I can link to the party, which is interesting because in this panel we have had today, we had, and I don't want to go too far back into this, I had direct quotes from Hitler, right? And those were Nazi quotes from King Big Dick Hitler, right? Of the Nazi party, right? And we got over there, and those were factually true statements. So which is it if you're on the left? Is it that some things can be factually true and incendiary, or is it, is it? I'm real confused here. Like, help me out with the double backflip logic you got going on.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, okay, so why is it in one case it's incendiary and not evil rhetoric, and then in the other case, oh well, it's fine because it's true, even though they're both essentially the same thing. Y'all can either pick A, it's factually true and Nazi rhetoric for the one, or it's B, the trans thing, like in sports, is a factually true statement and not
sorry. The statement that you were making within your opening statement, this was referencing that trans ideology had something to do with the shooting.
Yes, I would say, so I would say arguably, right? We know for a fact that they're in the trans ideology. We know that there is
explain what that means.
You're right. So
they are in the trans ideology.
Yes, we know this person was steeped in it. They have bullet casings referencing furry memes. They're dating a trans individual who, yes, that person has worked with the government. However, other trans people in the Discord groups were celebrating this immediately and deleting it, and they were in the groups assessed it. So yes, it does, because this is the people that were cheering him on, and we even know he confessed in these groups right now. We know this. So
how does
was it actually confirmed that they were dating, or were they just roommates?
What happened?
Yeah, we have witnesses.
They were dating. They were lovers.
We have witnesses that they say they're holding hands, kissing, and whatnot.
Sorry, hold on. We gotta go through this piece by piece. How does people cheering something on an event afterwards have to do with anything with the event itself? Right.
Well, there's evidence they were cahoots.
That one. The trans trans people in general were in cahoots?
No, not
with
in
the
general.
shooter?
Not in general. Actually,
Okay,
I think that's a good point. I
It's a
want to
transgender
elaborate
hive
on
mind.
because I am actually very upset about this on the
Okay.
right because I'm not like a conservative, like Christian fundamentalist like person that pushes that. I have trans friends.
Okay.
I have friends with LGBTQ, and it's frustrating me because I have people on that are liberals, right, and they are trans, and they have told me several times they are worried because people that are extremists that have pushed society is going to cause backlash violence against them. I think this is an example of what could be happening here. People are vilifying trans people as a whole when it's one small group in this discord of trans individuals who happen to be trans, but it is leftist ideology based that they're sitting here advocating. I think the bigger issue is the leftist ideology, but it is a fact that it is trans leaning in ideology involved.
Okay, so hon, again, so now it's a Discord group after the fact. They were cheering, and
they were doing stuff before, allegedly. Yeah, they wanted to pick up the rifle.
But they were coordinating with Tyler.
Yeah, allegedly, there's arguments that he was. There's statements that have been made that they might have had foreknowledge. There's groups that have in the area of active that deleted. That were trans activists.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. We don't have that information.
They're investigating group ties. We don't know.
We do have for sure the evidence that this person was a trans. He dated a trans individual who had explicit anti-Charlie Kirk and anti-MAGA beliefs, and we think they were tied together.
Sure, but first of all, not to be anti Charlie Kirk, you wouldn't have to just be on the left, right? Just I'm not saying that they're not.
True.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Great. Okay. Just wanted to establish that.
But he was on the left, though. The killer.
But he was on the left.
I'm willing to believe that. Like I said during the WIC panel, right? I'm like, it's more likely than not that whoever did this, I don't know the name.
Yeah, I think you've been good faith about that.
Fair. Okay. So yeah. So as far as I know, fine. Right.
Not with the Christian
though. But still, like, we are working out, like, just like our, because, and this is why I want to bring this back, Lactoid, right? Just like how at the time, right, we didn't know about the shooter's ideology, according to you. We didn't know about the shooter's ideology, who for the Minnesota assassination attempts, right? Like, we now don't know. Right, so like statements are being made, but we actually don't much know.
Well, so right? There was no King's flyers that were in the car, and that was kind of I think that lended some credibility to we don't know for sure. When I first saw pictures of the shooter, I thought I saw like a map,
which one?
Like their screen when they're in their dorm, when this person's in their dorm, there's like a computer monitor, and there's like a on the screensaver, it's like a map. Or I thought it was like maybe a map game. And when I saw the map game, like Crusader Kings or, Hearts of Iron or something, that was massive evidence that this guy was a groyper. And I thought maybe this guy's a groyper, right? But as it was pointed out to me, that's
Crusader
just like
Kings is a groyper game?
If you, I'm just saying.
Bro, you
all
think
else being equal,
Deathly Ill is a groyper because she plays.
All else equal, if you're playing Hearts of Iron, you're more likely to be a groyper, okay? I'm just saying. But then it was discovered, like I was explained to me, it was just a screensaver of like a natural like landscape, and then we figured out what was on the bullets, and then the investigative agencies were coming out and saying that this guy had been like indoctrinated into left-wing ideology, and then we find out that like his partner is he's actively romantically involved with the trans person, which I mean I guess right-wingers could be, but like statistically speaking, all the stats are pointing to this person being very left-wing.
So I want to talk about that, right? And one, I don't know if this person is trans, but if they are trans, then I can
his partner,
that. Yeah, the partner, not the partner. But okay, so and I want to say again that individual, and Gibbs mentioned it in passing, but this individual is actually working with the cops, right? The roommate, possibly lover, is actually working with the cops. So let's definitely keep that in mind.
Very good.
It's important.
Sure. But like being romantically involved with a trans person, of course, doesn't mean that you're left wing, right?
It indicates you're more
it's obviously evidence.
Not necessarily. Hold on.
Well, Prime, can I ask you a question?
No.
It is evidence at the very least.
Let me ask me a question. Hold on. Sorry. I didn't get the point out that I'm trying to make. This is, hey, something I talk about often, right? You've heard, if you've been here for a while, not Nonfon, because he hasn't heard me yet say this, but something I've talked about on many occasions is, hey, is actually quite illuminating when you listen to sex workers, right? The things they have to say. They say a lot of interesting things, right? Trans sex workers make money. They make a lot of money. They make, well, not a lot of money, depends on who you're talking about, but they can make a lot of money, right? And they make a lot of money with conservatives. Conservatives like to
Who are
see the trans
closeted.
women. Yeah, so who
It
cares?
was known they were lovers.
No,
So
yeah,
obviously
no,
they
no,
weren't
sorry,
doing that
oh,
good
no,
of a
no,
job
no,
being
no.
closeted.
Whatever. That's not the point that I'm making. I'm saying that like conservatives, right, can have oftentimes have sex with trans people. Like trans people oftentimes are fetishized, deeply fetishized by the people who hate them. This is a thing that happens in marginalized groups, that the people who oppress them, like fetishize them. That's the thing
Like
that
Mark
happens.
Robinson.
So these conservatives, sorry,
That must be why I'm into women.
Well,
right?
I mean,
This individual who came from a seemingly right-wing family. All the evidence is pointing to a right-wing MAGA family. That doesn't mean that they're not conservative. Again, I'm willing to say that they're probably liberal, right? But I'm just
No,
like,
his parents are conservative.
yeah. So I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm complicating. I'm complicating this narrative, right? Like, hey, like the reason why people are unsure in this moment, in this case, is because there's conflicting information, and it seems, especially by like
well,
what he was writing on, but especially it seems like what he was writing on his bullets, right? That this guy is a serious like a terminally online
That's
like
true.
Reddit or 4chan type of person, right? Like with the Helldivers reference, and then the Bella Ciao, which seems to be, well, one is in the Helldivers games, is what I'm being told, but also it has been is an anti-fascist song, but it has been ironically adopted by groypers, and I forget what the other ones that he put in there.
Louis
Oh yeah,
Bulge.
if you're gay, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO, right? Like this type of individual, like whether this is like politically motivated in that way, like it seems like brain rot, right? And I think like people are reading into things that don't necessarily even have a meaning, right? This is just like deeply like layers of irony poisoned messages that we're getting out of this individual who is alive, luckily, and can still talk at some point, hopefully, right? So I'm saying that at this moment, again, and I'll keep saying it, I'm very much willing to believe that this is a left-wing motivated attack, right? That there was, he had maybe to defend his trans lover. That could be a thing that that happened. But people are making positive statements. The governor's making positive statements. The governor of Utah is making positive statements that we don't know. And then like people online, a lot of commentators are making positive statements that we don't know. And these statements, right? If we're talking about an ideology, if mentioning that ideology is dangerous, well, then mentioning trans ideology would also be dangerous, right? That would be a dangerous thing. If I can't mention fascist, it would also be dangerous, right? Gibbs?
Well, here's the thing, though, Rod. I guess I got two questions for you, right? So, one, let's just go through your logic. I'm going to start with the smallest like point of contention that I think you can agree with first. Is part of the reason we think Gen Z is going to be the most conservative generation in a long time. A, yeah, Charlie Kirk spoke, but B, it's kind of that like rebound effect where people rebel. And if he was raised by a conservative family, would you also agree, since you said they're fetishized, the idea of rebelling against your family and espousing views that are against them, well, no, would you agree that it's a possibility? I know, which I know you didn't say this.
Okay,
would you agree that it's a possibility that instead of what you're just saying, where it's like this undercover thing, I know you're not saying that, but just like the positive, this idea, it could also be the opposite, is that he has taken stances opposite of his family and is openly living with them in a like state of rebellion. You would agree that could also be a possibility, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I think we're on the same page here. The issue that I'm having, right? Because like I said, I'm really concerned for some of my trans friends now, because the right wing has taken it's all trans ideology, all the trans are bad, and that is very concerning to me. But on the flip side, I think the problem people on the right are having is and you haven't done this, so I'm good on you for this. The problem I'm seeing is when people have posted and they've like not quite said they're a groyper, not quite said they're whatever, let their audience underneath say this, and then there's no evidence that there's any trans motivation, and then it turns out, oh, this guy's actually dating a trans individual, and there people are like on the right, see, where's the right's apology for this, when it's like, okay, yeah, the guy wasn't trans, but he was dating a trans individual. Would you and I agree that's like a 1 degree separation? It's kind of like ticky-tack, like.
I'm sorry, the right doesn't
I
get
don't
an
know if anyone
apology
else
for
hears
constantly.
Gibbs's echo.
Sorry. Well, I would say, and Nonfon, did you respond? Okay, so oh well, Nonfon, if you want to respond, I'll respond after you. You want to say something quick? Then
Sure,
I'll-
yeah, the right doesn't get an apology when after every single attack ever, they conspiratize about how it's all the left's fault and how it's all trans ideology and how it's all because people don't have a family unit and don't have a
No, it
Christian,
wasn't
and then one out of
it wasn't right after the
every
apology.
100 times they turn out to be 50% right. No, you don't get an apology for that.
No, Nonfon, that's not what I said. Literally, this is what happened. I'll use an example because I know he's a big boy and he can defend his stance if he wants to, because I'm talking to him later this week. But Wick posted a status, for example, and he said, "Oh, where are the right wingers apologizing when it came out this guy was from a conservative family?" And a lot of people on the right said, "Well, hold on. There's clearly leftist Antifa messaging, or it seems like, and there's arguments that the arrow thing is not a Helldiver reference because it's also a reference that Antifa and other movements have used."
No,
and we've seen that. Yes, it is. You can argue it, but we have evidence all the way back from 2018, which predates Helldivers. And so then on top of that, and that's not even the strongest. But the point is, when they say, "Oh, we deserve an apology. This guy wasn't a trans shooter. Y'all were totally wrong," and then we find out, "Oh, actually the guy was dating a trans individual." Do you see that like not as a bait and switch when someone like Wick does something like that? Like, and once again, Wick's a big boy, and I'm not saying but it is this 1 degree of separation kind of problem, and that's the one that's coming to mind now. I saw other people saying similar things, where it's like, "Oh, there's nothing to do with the trans," and then it's like, "Oh, well, the guy's actually dating a trans individual." Even Prime sat here and just said, "Oh, well, it could just be a personal thing where he wants to defend his trans lover," and guess what? Even then, if it's even just that, that's still something tied potentially to the ideology, and it feels dishonest when you go, "There's no evidence he's trans. We deserve an apology. He's a right-wing conservative." Then it finds out, "Oh, well, he's actually dating somebody."
No, I agree. It could have something to do with the fact that he wanted to defend his transgender girlfriend or whatever, but you don't get an apology when you, prior to there being any evidence, conspiratize about this stuff, especially when there's so many people on the right, like who is it, the whatever Christian nationalist on Tim Pool that was like, "Oh, transgender people are ticking time bombs to kill Christian children." Like, oh my God,
when that's words in my mouth, that's the type I didn't ask for apology. Your side asked for the apology from us.
No, I understand.
And then we see it's exactly or close to exactly what the people on the right were saying. You don't see an issue with that?
It's not close to. I don't see a big issue. No, I see a bigger issue with people conspiratizing before any evidence comes out about whether this person is transgender, especially
even
when, as I mentioned, so much of the rhetoric. Yes, even if the conspiracy is right, or even if the conspiracy is 20% right. No, you don't get credit for like saying that, for having this unhinged conspiracy theory that like transgender people are evil and fucking crazy and going to kill Christian children. And then after the fact, if some of it is confirmed, you don't get any credit for doing that because it's an insane.
What if it does become it was a trans terror cell, and even if they were extremists, what if it does end up that there were 4 or 5 people in cahoots, like, and they were like helping him plan, or we're gonna pick up, and they were all trans or transgender.
5 people is a terror cell now?
I mean, well, honestly, if you got 300 people total in your whole terrorist organization, and you spread them out,
terrorists, and it just means fucking anybody.
Hold on, how many people
anybody is a terrorist?
How many people were? Hold on, okay, let's pretend the conspiracy aside. How many people were alleged in the 9/11 hijackings? Like 11?
From a group of how many?
Well, yeah.
11 was like from a group.
It would be a cell, right? That'd be what, 9? Okay, a 9. That would be a cell, right? So if we find out 9 or 5 people in that range, would you call that a cell?
Part of Al Qaeda.
Wait. From the idea is that they broke that they.
Wait, so you can't be a cell unless you're a part of something else.
It wasn't 11 people. 11 people aren't Al Qaeda. 11 people are a part of Al Qaeda.
Yeah, a cell of Al Qaeda.
Yeah, okay,
correct?
so these are 5 people who are a cell from where? Is there a terrorist fucking trans group?
Well, you could be in a terror cell and not be affiliated with any group. We saw ISIS do that all the time. They would radicalize people, and they would be lone wolves, and they would be trained by people that were actually in the group. That's still part of a terrorist network or a terrorist cell, even if they themselves are not part of ISIS.
I mean, you would assume there's a network, right? If you're saying there are cells, there's a network.
Equivalent of ISIS.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. Well, okay. There is a group that today was I'll find the link. It's in my Discord. But they basically deleted their profile today after it was open that they were going to expand it, which is a militant trans organization, guns right organization in there. So, maybe it's total coincidence, but hey, in my mind, I mean, I haven't seen any evidence linking them. However, it is a coincidence. If it turns out they were linked, would you then argue that's a cell?
Are you against gun
Yeah,
rights now?
But it-
No, I'm
But
not
it could be hold on.
changing it.
That could be the case that it was some weird transgender terrorist cell again to like
Okay,
SocioLLogic's
exactly.
point.
Could
Like
be,
there's
and I'm
no
not saying it
hold on,
is.
yeah, exactly. But there's no point or there's no like organized network between like every single transgender person fucking
That's not
organizing all this
necessary
shit.
for a terror
You know, it'd
cell
be
to operate.
one.
You don't have to be part of it.
I know, I understand, but you're saying like obviously a terrorist cell typically is going to be part of a larger terrorist network. Like for example, what you mentioned with ISIS or whatever. There's no equivalent to ISIS on the transgender side or whatever. But to be clear, if you are transgender right now, you kind of should be freaked the fuck out because there are a bunch of people on the right blaming you and your quote unquote ideology for all these killings. And they want to take guns away and they want to do a bunch of insane shit. So you should be freaking the fuck out.
I'll answer your question directly, right? About at least what I think is your question. If I'm not answering, then I apologize. Like should should the right have to apologize over not quite getting the story right and saying that the shooter was trans, but it turns out their lover was trans. If that indeed is,
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like duplicitous 1 degree of separation bullshit.
1 degree,
and we're being asked to answer for it, and then when it turns out it's like 1 degree, they're like,
Who's
"Well, we
asking you
don't
to
hold
answer
no
for it?
responsibility."
Wick TV.
But guys, right? Here's the thing, though, right? I want to half agree with you, right? Like to say, oh well, you're saying like trans, like this. Like, I just use the term trans ideology, even though I don't like that term. But I'm just
Sure, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
it's not a
Trans
gotcha. That's
Yeah. And not an attack to you either. But trans ideology, like to say that trans ideology wasn't involved at all to them when turns out they have a lover, like that seems like a disingenuous statement, right? Okay. But on the other side, let's remember the timeline of what happened, right? It was just last week, right? We can all remember this. Immediately after this happened, immediately we didn't have I don't think we even had a picture yet of this motherfucker. Immediately after this happened, it was blamed on a trans shooter. Immediately, right? We have people on the right talking about this. We have politicians discussing, hey, like, shouldn't something be done about these trans shooters? They're a danger, right? Trans people are a danger to us. There was a lot of that happening immediately afterwards, right? And we had no evidence at all, right? And so doing that type of thing, right, which is Charlie Kirk engaged in, doing that makes things more dangerous for trans individuals. So when people were saying, well, I don't want to speak for all these people because I'm not all these people, right? But I imagine what people were saying is like, no, we're not going to give you an apology. Is that, well, the right literally likes to fearmonger, and I think you actually agreed with this, Gibbs, already, right? It's literally been fearmongering against trans people, right? They have reason to be afraid, which is what you said about your friends, right? They should be afraid. So that's what that's what I imagine these people are saying. I could be wrong about that, but like I imagine they're saying, hey, yeah, you are saying that trans people are directly a threat. They're out to kill you, right? And I think this happened before the Charlie Kirk assassination, but I could be wrong, right? But someone's proposed within the White House, they were proposing the legislation of banning trans people from owning guns, right? Like Lacto and I had a discussion about that.
I'll be against that, but I'm glad they did.
I am against that, and I think.
But guess what it did? It caused the liberals to suddenly understand 2A is important. So I mean, maybe it was a good.
I guess take the W's where you can, but but I think one of the ways I think to combat this, because I agree with you, Prime. I am concerned that the administration is going to, especially maybe not now, but I was concerned that they might capitalize this to try to push like the trans gun ban or something. I think the best way to combat this is just to emphasize that the trans one is the one working with the FBI.
That's big.
Like that is the person that's being cooperative. The killer is not, but the person who is being cooperative is the trans. Like what more do you want? I mean, that's what
would you also have said that it would have been better if the governor had not revealed their gender identity?
Would it be better? I don't know. I think that having information is good. I like that the FBI emphasized that the partner was in full cooperation with the FBI and being very helpful. I think that it'd be responsible to emphasize that a lot, and I'd be okay with the FBI taking kind of special care to really emphasize that this person
Does it
has been particularly helpful.
Sure. Does this put the person mentioning their gender ideology in this moment in time? Do you think that makes it more dangerous for this individual? That it might. I don't think
I don't know.
it'd be particularly hard to find
Maybe.
this person's name. The media won't say, of course, but like I don't think it'd be particularly hard to find them.
We already have the
They
name.
live in the same house, right? Or
We have the name.
apartment. Oh, you have the name. Okay, great.
Who dropped their name? Was it the FBI?
I believe so, or a source within the FBI gave it to somebody.
So do you think that makes it more dangerous for them? Just not the fact that they're a roommate, but specifically trans.
What I would have done, here's what I would have done. If I was the FBI, and by the way, I could be more competent than Kash Patel, honestly.
Easily. I'm sure you could be.
If I was in charge of the FBI, I would release that the partner was trans. I think that's important to counter certain narratives. I would highly emphasize that this person has been cooperative with the FBI and not a problem. I would not drop their name, and definitely not a picture of them. I don't know if the FBI actually did that. It's, to me, probably equally likely that some crazy 4chan people could have done that too. I don't know. I don't know exactly who dropped the name for the first time, but if it was the government, I don't like that. I would not have done that if I was in charge. I would not have had this person's personal information put out there, especially if they're working with the FBI. Like, they are currently an active witness, essentially, and collaborator with the government. We probably shouldn't be, announcing those people for obvious reasons.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but sort of complete separate question.
Wait, do you think the news should be allowed to give out their name? Because say that FBI, I don't know how they released it. I'm guessing, but you said it wouldn't be that hard to figure out, right, Prime? Do you think the news is justified if they go and they find out independently this person's name? They go, oh, we find out this is the roommate. Do you think they should have the ability to do that?
I don't know what the
I don't think so.
newsworthiness of knowing the name. Like in this moment where people are looking for someone to blame, releasing the name of an individual close to a mass shooter, that seems like they would put them in danger. Now, if we found out this individual at all worked with them or encouraged them, that's a different story, right?
Yeah,
But
I agree with Prime here. Yeah.
Yeah, if they were just in close proximity, fuck no. I'm sorry, there are a lot of fucking crazies out there.
The other way to
As
look
you
at
can
this,
see.
Gibbs, and maybe this can convince you, Gibbs. This person is actively working with the FBI to put the killer in prison. This killer's got a whole bunch of fans on the left. The partner might be in danger from the left too, right? From certain aspects of the left, right? Because this person's working with the pigs, quote unquote, right? This person's working with a snitch.
No, I mean, that's absolutely correct. I think the problem I'm having is you also have to remember at the time that you said remember the timeline. This person was on the run. They did figure out who the person was before he got caught, right? And then it's some people, this information was already quasi out there about this individual. So it's if you are asking the public to assist you, and part of that information is his roommate's identity, and it's something people need or looking at. I don't know that you in the case where it's an open manhunt and this person comes out, that it's oh, we can't release it. That might have been pertinent information to catch him potentially if the public had to help catch him, the Night Stalker or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of
what?
It's
I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand that.
So, okay, Mike, there's an open manhunt. They've asked the public to help. They've got whatever. And so then they find out who this person is. And part of it, the information is okay, well, how should we find them? Well, they might talk to their significant other. So get your eyes on it. Who's your significant other? Their significant other is this individual. So, it's maybe that's something people would do. It's because, say their significant other hadn't been cooperative and had decided to run. Oh, and they were gonna flee together and meet up somewhere, and then it would be useful to know who that person was and watch for them on
story.
Right, but that's not what happened. They had asked before they found out they caught him for the public to help, and we did know who this person was. So it's kind of if they do release this information, that could be a tool in order to help catch you. And now it turns out the trans individual ended up helping the FBI instead of running off with him.
Oh,
it could have been a very real
even
possibility
if they didn't help, right? Let's say hey, I'm going to use my constitutional right of not speaking to the police, right? If they decide to exercise that right, And like the fact patterns of the case, as far as we know, understand right now, is that the roommate had nothing to do with this, right? If that holds to be true, we can't be sure, right? But if that holds to be true, but in this universe, they decided, hey, I'm going to lawyer up, right? I'm going to hire Lactoid, and I'm not going to say anything. We would still not release their name, correct? Even though they're not cooperating.
I agree with Prime. There's no reason to release a person's name.
Well,
I can't think of a reason.
Okay, I can, right? I gave you one. Okay, would you agree? Say I was married still, and I killed somebody. Okay, and it was like a high profile, like somebody, and they were on an open manhunt, and they know that I have money, and they don't know how they're gonna track me, but they know it was me. Okay, or they know or whatever, and so they go, okay, well, we're gonna release other potential associates of him. Be aware that they might be with this individual. And my wife has decided, hold on, and my wife has decided at the time she's going to meet me. So someone sees her at the airport and talking to a dude dressed funnily, like, oh, I have like a big nose and glasses on. Would you agree then that would be useful in catching me if they could recognize my significant other?
Yeah, I agree in that very. Well, hold on. In this very limited circumstance where it's like we got to find the person, and we know that they're with somebody. So here's. I don't think that's what was happening.
Yes, it was. If I'm not he wasn't a man. They asked the public to help.
Wait. The time period matters here. Did they release because I'm pretty sure they released the name and the picture of the partner after they caught the guy. Am I wrong on that?
Sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but it was within a very short period of time around both.
Well,
whether or not they caught him or not, because
if they caught him,
people.
If they got him in custody,
caught the wrong person and they want to look at other person's interests, like are you still? You're like excluding them.
If they caught no, Gibbs. If they caught the wrong person, they wouldn't know who their partner was.
Listen, I understand that, but if you release 6 names that are persons of interest, right, or you release 3 names because they had the first guy, it's not him based off evidence. They caught a second person, it's not that guy based on evidence. If they go, okay, we do know for sure it's this person's a person of interest. These are people that are known associates. Have you ever had a problem with them releasing information on known associates of mob enforcers?
Gibbs. If they have the guy, because I'm assuming that this guy, they only knew the partner because the partner was the partner of the guy. If they have the guy in custody, even if they have the wrong guy, that the partner wouldn't have anything to do with some other suspect out there because they are the partner of the guy that they have in custody.
Would the public be able to say this partner has? Let's just say the partner wasn't cooperating, but like with them, right? Would you say that it would be useful for the public to be like, oh, I haven't seen the killer, but I have seen their partner at these XY things buying this gun or buying this ammo. Would you find that as useful information that could be given to the police?
If they have
so there's a bunch of different scenarios then where you need the partner.
Okay, hold up, Gibbs.
And I thought these were like 10 seconds.
Gibbs,
it took him 10 seconds.
Brother. If the person wasn't cooperating and they had some reason to suspect they may have been involved in the crime, that could be a reason. But as far as we know, this person
lies.
But Your Honor, I came up with these reasons.
Just 30 seconds.
Under 10 seconds, Your Honor.
Lactoid said in the beginning, he could find no idea. I've given you 3 and 30 seconds. Where it's
3 and 30 seconds.
I'm just saying.
The only L of the night, and it came from a fellow conservative.
You know what's really crazy though is you're framing this like, hold on, you're framing this like somebody has it like, okay, let's look at Tashiki 69. I mean, it's gonna be a great example right here. Tashiki 69 was involved in crime, and guess what? Yeah, whatever his name. Yeah, whatever. And he decided he was going to turn on. Whatever.
A fellow terrorist.
Whatever his name is. Listen, he snitched, right? Okay, and he was involved in those crimes. It's not unheard of for people that have snitched and reported several other crimes to not get busted, then get busted later after it finds out they were involved in other crimes or a partner. Like if we find out, okay, this guy did admit to this, helping because they're afraid they're going to get caught and be wrapped up as a conspirator. Guess what? Okay, maybe they get amnesty for that bullshit. But what if we find out they were actually plotting stuff later on? Like there's a ton of reasons to know.
Gibbs. Let me give you, but fair enough. Okay, but let me give you. I don't find those. I don't think a lot of those possible scenarios that you described are
highly possible scenarios.
Situational here. I think in this situation, this person is highly cooperative, giving evidence. Doesn't seem to be like a lot was gained by like putting out their information. But here, we're going to weigh the potentialities, the potential benefit that you just described. Let's weigh that against what I think is a massive detriment, which is, I have information on the killer, but I don't want my name and face plastered on TV. So I'm not going to come forward now and talk to the FBI. I would be much more worried about that
Okay, wouldn't the opposite be
withholding
true, though,
evidence.
as well? Wouldn't the opposite be true? Say you are the person. You might want your name and face out there because guess what? I'm the trans person that turned him in. You can kill all the other transes, but don't kill me.
Then you can come out and say your name.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
you
they
just do that.
did. Do you have any evidence they didn't tell the FBI to release their
Oh my
name to
God.
prove their innocence?
I don't.
that's
I
what-
don't. I
my
don't.
God. I
Hey,
got-
we're all
Blackoid. Are
speculating.
you in
You
the
don't have any
FBI's
evidence.
files? Do you
I
know?
don't.
You
Oh,
don't.
yeah,
Gibbs is right. I don't.
Absence of
Another-
evidence isn't evidence.
another-
of
Who
evidence.
else
Another
from the
W.
conservative
Yeah,
every time? Like,
he
oh my
touched it.
God.
Yeah, hold
Do
on.
we know that the
Gibbs,
trans
here's-
person isn't a jihadi working with Hamas?
No,
Do we
I
know
think we
that?
do. We do know that
We
because they
don't
don't like
We
know
know
it.
that they're not jihadi.
What have they said about Israel?
I mean, we know they
Any
like
Hitler
it.
quotes?
Can I just take a moment? Can I just take a moment? Just like
Is America a
Thank God-
republic or a
thank God-
democracy?
thank God
Has the
the
trans
shooter
person been asked
Put your
this?
name on it.
thank God the shooter wasn't Muslim. It was a great day. It was a great week to be a minority. Just let it be known.
Yeah.
Well, what happened today, though, Ollie?
Great
What
week
happened
to
today?
be a
Oh
minority.
Hold on,
my
Ollie. What
God.
happened today?
You're
What happened
speaking
today,
facts.
Ollie?
What happened today? Something happened?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
A Muslim
some
individual tried
Muslim
firebomb in
individuals.
someplace.
Oh shit.
Well, no,
In the name of the trans.
Yeah, but Charlie Kirk is
So,
more
there-
important, so
there
it's
were-
okay.
there were
We'll,
these,
we'll
two-
cover that up.
I just read this story a little while ago. But yeah, and from their last names, I don't know if they are Muslim, but they have Nasir as the last name, so I don't know.
Ooh.
And they put an incendiary device under a news van. And
not-
it
it sure
In
tried to
doesn't.
Salt
set
Lake
it
City,
off.
Utah.
And yeah, and it didn't actually set off, and the bomb squad, got rid of it. But anyway, so
So
that's
it's a Muslim
thing that
trans
happened.
organ.
So anyway, hold on. Guys, so I want to ask you something. So on this note, and then we can wrap this up here and I'll move on for our lives. So Gibbs, right? I think part of the problem, one, I don't know if, and I'm saying I actually genuinely don't know if it is like routine for police to release known associates, right? And to combine that very loosely. Like when I hear known
Well, in the
associates,
movies, yeah.
one, I think like known associates like as part of crime. Like, oh, these are the people, like this is another, like this we're looking for a drug dealer, and these are other drug dealers that he is known to associate with. One, I don't know if they actually release that on a regular basis. So I'm not sure how useful it is to do that, especially if those known associates might necessarily be informants or work with the prosecutor later on, right? I don't think that's a thing, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But two, especially when we're talking about a nationalized, sensationalized crime, right? That is especially offensive to the public. Right? Let's say we're talking about a child molester, right? And we're looking for the child molesters out there, right? And you just did something terrible, and we're looking for them. And we let the public know about his known associates, and by that I mean his roommate, right? Hey, have you seen a known associate of a suspected pedophile? Hey, what do you think? People in the public, what kind of conclusions might they draw about this individual? Just a roommate. That's all we know about them. A roommate, known associate. Let's release their name to the public, right? Like that invites problems. Like it invites a violence or retribution against these individuals who might not necessarily deserve it at all. I mean, vigilante. They shouldn't be doing vigilante violence in the first place. But still, like it primes the public, right? It primes the public to think this person is a problem. Is somehow related to the situation as well, and it makes their lives more difficult. And you can't take that back afterwards, especially if you have the wrong guy too, right? Especially if the suspect is completely wrong, then this person, whoever they are, their roommate, is now forever linked to a pedophile case. Like, would you understand how that might be a big problem?
No, I mean, maybe. I mean, there's all sorts of things. I think that this is somewhat.
I actually don't think we know the name, by the way.
What? The person?
The trans person. A picture has been
People-
floating around, but I'm not trying to find the name. I can't find the name.
People are able to find their TikTok
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff.
I
I don't
think
know. We might not know the name, but
Yeah,
we know
I
some
mean,
of their social
I know
media.
it's I think it's
Okay.
Lance Twigs is what it was.
Well, don't say it.
No, it's not doxing. It's already public knowledge.
Well, I know,
mean, this
but
is
like, why are we?
It
Gonna
wasn't
I
to
don't think
me.
we should- I mean, well, that's tough titties. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it when it's being reported by national news. Like, sorry, that's not.
I mean, what are they,
like,
a
we're not-
coward?
Yeah, what are we, cowards? We literally just had a whole panel at this thing. In fact, are you? They're not a coward if they're
You
working
make a
with
good
the
point, Lactoid. We can
police.
discuss it.
You know,
You want to take off your shirt?
If I put my name
Corey's
here
got
tonight,
you on
then we're gonna be
site.
saying
He just
got
called
you in
me
the
fat.
red eye.
Yeah.
You brought it up initially, not me.
Okay.
I will gladly go
All right.
toe to toe to you anytime.
I bet he will. Like, this was. I've never seen Cory be as toxic.
I like it.
He's on tea supplements.
I have no problem saying that. I don't treat politics like a game like Lactoid does. And I will absolutely die for all of my convictions. And I'll stand by everything that I say. Lactoid will not.
Oh, let him know.
Wow.
Let him know. Oh, yeah. Right? He said, pry his convictions out of his cold, dead hands. What do you think about that, Lactoid? Huh?
Yeah, he's on the tea's making some progress. He's getting very masculine, very aggressive.
Okay. All right. I don't want. I'm not gonna say anymore because I want Cory to be mad at me. So what we're gonna do here is
I encourage it. Having that wrath thrown at you, kind of sexy, man.
Let's wrap things up. Hey, audience, if you've enjoyed this content so far, consider supporting the channel. Sub to the channel, give subs, right? If you haven't done so already on Twitch, right? Support the channel that way. It's a huge help if you do. Thank you for anyone who does. Resubs also are very helpful. We appreciate our resubbers. Ad-free viewing, and our emotes and whatnot. And on Twitch, sorry, I still never get it right. On YouTube, thank you for people who super chatted, who supported. You also be a YouTube member. That's a help. So consider supporting the channel or following. You haven't done so yet, right? Like follow the channel, however you can on whichever platform you can. Follow the channel. If you found this entertaining, because we have big fights like this constantly. So we have an outro to all these wonderful, amazing, beautiful individuals, right? Sorry for our friend Lactoid. Thank you, Lactoid. You and Gibbs were carrying the mantle. I invited more people to be conservatives. They dropped out, right? They didn't want to face us on the battlefield of
They
ideas.
don't want to face Cory.
But Lactoid, probably a good idea. Cory would have taken someone's limb off, especially with Scott. Oh man, Scott would ask for it. But Lactoid, battling a sickness, right? He didn't let that stop him. He decided, I'm going to be a part of this. I've got a conservative point to make, a bad one. Nothing's going to stop me from doing it. So, Theodore.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I wrote it down so I don't forget. Don't worry. This will be coming back again. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Look, I appreciate the invite. I appreciate everybody who talked to me. I'm just going to, I guess, reiterate something that I wish would just sort of be in the public consciousness to just say, which is that this murder was horrific and inexcusable. I'm like many people, I saw the video and like that. I've seen a lot of shit, right? Because of my job, like I've watched a lot of people die, a lot of gory accidents and stuff. That was particularly kind of jarring, and anybody who can watch that and then afterwards just be like, jumping for joy and doing TikTok dances. I mean, I think it's despicable. And, even if you don't, which you should, but even if you don't, this, I think at the very least kind of paints a very kind of scary picture about the current political polarization of this country, which I have consistently brought up on this panel, how it's, really bad right now. And it's probably close to the worst it's been since the Civil War. Not as bad as the Civil War, of course, but bad. So let's do what we can to move away from that.
Agreed. I could 100% agree with everything our good friend Lactoid just said there. I was going to say something else there as well. Yeah, I forget it. But anyway, we'll go to our friend Gibbs. Thank you, Gibbs, for coming on again. I wanted you to have more backup on this, but as always, when Gibbs is excited about a topic, you can hold his own. So appreciate you for being here, Gibbs.
Yeah, I appreciate you always having me on. It's always good. I always look forward to it. Monday is my favorite night of the week when I can be here. Secondly, yeah, Lactoid's not the only one battling the sickness. I'm battling this sickness. I'm sick and tired of all this baby back bullshit that the fucking left keeps doing with this dishonest language and dishonest framing where they're playing piddly dicks with word games and thinking that nobody's catching on. That's what they're doing. They're playing piddly dicks, and it's fucking bullshit. It's disgusting, and they need to stop. They're actually worse, in my opinion, the ones that are doing that than the people celebrating. Because the people that are buying the Charlie Kirk 3D printed thing and selling it around, the people sitting here putting their name on this bullshit, they at least have the balls to come out and say and own this evil position, and so we know who the enemy is. But these other people that are these perfidious word games where they sit here and are duplicitous and have this plausible deniability, they're much worse because they're bad faith actors, and we should call them out, and we should call them out by name. And that's exactly right. Cory was right about that. For example, it is a little bit cowardly to be afraid to not put your name on something. I come on here. I came from a whole different sphere than politics. You can thank the leftist crazy ideological agenda for me being in politics, because it got so bad that I came in here and stopped doing what I was doing in streaming and started doing this pretty much as my main content. And I'm not afraid to put my name on shit. And it's crazy to me that we're going to sit here and have this conversation about, oh, we shouldn't put the name to these. It's wild because they're sitting here doing this every day. And I'm sad, I'm disgusted, and I'm sick of it. So if you want to continue this conversation, we're going to be continuing Thursday with a large panel of people at 7:30. And it's going to be exciting. I'm sure it's going to be more heated, especially as more details comes out. I don't see this issue going away anytime soon. Charlie Kirk won the debate. We are Charlie Kirk now, and the sad part is that we beat him. We are Charlie Kirk. Y'all couldn't beat him, so you killed him. And you know, Lactoid may be worried about putting his name and face out there. I'm not. You're gonna have to kill me to shut me up. It's gonna get worse, and there's gonna be more of us. I'm just, y'all thought he was the white radical one. Wait till you see who else is out there. And I do have concerns about that. And I encourage my right-leaning brothers and sisters to maybe don't embrace the evil extremist on our side, because that is a concern. But come back and fight for your actual beliefs and stand up and speak your beliefs loudly instead of letting an evil group take over his name and run with it. That's what you should be doing on the right wing. On the left, stop being so goddamn evil and playing these duplicitous games. And thanks as always for having me.
So two things. One, we can all agree, on both sides of the aisle, that Lactoid's a coward, but not telling us his real name. Luckily, I doxed him for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Theodore Fournier, all right? Look him up.
There's no way Theodore is actually the most popular name in Canada, is it really?
I looked up a list.
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you.
Ted makes sense. Ted being the most popular name in Canada makes sense.
Yeah.
Baby names.
Yeah.
So in 2023, it was the third most popular name in Canada for baby names, Theodore.
Yeah.
There were others, but they weren't as funny as Theodore, so I picked that one instead.
That's a pretty Canadian name. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, shouts. Lactoid. Also, just one more thing, Gibbs. One day, will you tell us the rules of piddly dicks? You always say people are playing it all the time. I'd like to. Is it like it's like hopscotch? Like what is it?
It's like you know, the rules of piddly dicks is you're playing some bullshit ass game. It's like kind of like my dad used to say, when you're bored, you get your hands like this and you throw your thumb this way, right?
Okay.
And then when you get really bored with doing that, you go the opposite way. That's playing piddly dicks. You're sitting here cockfighting instead of coming out here and doing anything of substance. That's what it is.
Okay. Understood. Piddly dicks. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So I appreciate you, Fred.
That was the most Texas thing you could have described.
I mean,
all right.
Listen, they come in cattywampus. We got to explain it to them right.
Cattywampus. Okay. Another time. Let's go to our friend Cory. Cory, that was intense, right?
Sure.
We expect that nonsense. People don't expect anything better of me, but like Cory, like you're
courageous Cory, actually.
Yeah, courageous Cory, who's got his name out there, right? And in case you don't know, I mean, like, you can say your name, but
yes,
like,
you can look me up. I don't care.
Okay, well there you go. Thank you, Cory, one way or the other, for being here. We like all sides of Cory that show up. We haven't found a bad side of Cory yet. Actually, I might disagree on this one, but like found a bad side of Cory yet. But thank you, Cory.
Thank you for inviting me. And again, I find it again a little bit strange or interesting that Lactoid essentially said, why can't just all the left or the people just condemn the violence? But like, so here's the difference. I can do that. I can say I condemn all political violence. Cory Cambell. I condemn all political violence. LactoidTV. Okay. Wow, such impact, such courage. Okay, and the difference is I tried to pin him. I tried to pin him to just one position that he knew was nonsensical. But he can't actually attach any sort of name to it, either his pseudonym. He can't say, I'm a lactoid, I'm a lawyer, and America is not a democracy, it's a republic, because he's a coward. And he has the ability to do that because he can remain anonymous, okay? And he's gonna say, well, I'm afraid, okay? I'm gonna get shot. I'd be curious to know who do you think is more in danger? Someone like Destiny or someone like Lactoid, okay? Where I'm pretty sure Destiny, who is banned on Twitch and pretty much denounces all Marxist-Leninists, I wonder if he received death threats. I wonder if people know where he lives, okay? And like, Lactoid, do you consider Destiny a cuck?
Literally a cock?
Sexually, literally.
Okay, so you would agree. You would agree that
politically.
Destiny the cuck is more brave and courageous than you. You would say that.
Let's go.
Kind of based.
You gonna say it? You gonna say it, Lactoid?
The Destiny's the cuck is more courageous than me.
Stephen Bennell III, his name's out there
Stephen
pretty.
Stephen
You know where he
Bennell,
lives too, at least the broad area.
Yeah.
You gonna say it?
We also know Nick Flynn is
He's-
where he lives too. Yeah.
He's probably more courageous and more reckless than me,
Okay, good. For once, you can say something
especially
with
with other people's stuff.
yeah, or
Reckless.
just politically, because yes, my beliefs are if you want to be in the political arena,
He is bold politically. If I could give him one thing, I will give him that. He is bold politically.
Yeah, you would agree. Destiny the cuck is more bold politically than you are and braver than you are,
Yes.
right? Agree?
Hitler was more bold than me as well.
Okay, yeah, sure. And you're definitely making a great equivalency there.
Am I wrong? Was Hitler more bold than me, Cory? Yes or no?
Yeah, I would agree. He is more courageous than you.
and
Yes,
braver
absolutely.
than you too.
Hitler was more bold than me.
Even
brave.
Nazis, right? Like, when does the Lactoid even ever get a win? It never happens, right?
Literally,
Okay,
Hitler's even
Lactoid will it will take him a long time to grow a backbone. Okay, and I find it also hilarious that he invoked my tits. Okay, again, I will gladly take off my shirt. I will gladly take off my shirt.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
You want to
to
go? If I do it,
Yes.
you promise to do it to Lactoid?
Yeah, Lacto. Both of you
Okay,
take your shirts off. Take your shirt off.
You gonna
In
do it?
Lactoid's defense, right? And Lactoid, you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? I feel like you weren't actually make a comment on his, like, your physical appearance there. Is that
I know,
correct?
Yeah.
I know the overall sentiment, but still, you want to take me up on that offer?
Hey, you want me to go shirtless on cam?
Yeah, go.
For sufficient
contest right now.
for a donation for a sufficient
No,
sub.
no.
Okay, I would do it. Yeah.
But it's
I'll
funny.
donate
Okay, I think-
$10
I
to the
think-
charity of your
I
choice.
think just last
Charity
week-
of my choice.
$10 to the shrimp fund.
$50 to
$10 to the
PrimeCayes.
shrimp.
You can go to
I
Super
think
Chat.
just
$50
last
to-
week, Lactoid was pointing out how Gibbs was mogging me. Am I mogging you yet?
Mogged.
What was the context of Gibbs
Yeah,
mocking
you,
you?
you don't even remember that. Okay, I'll pull up the
You
clip
don't even
later on.
remember.
Exactly.
I don't.
Remember the
a joke.
mog.
A joke. But anyways, like I sort of suspected, the conversation was not all that productive to me. And Lactoid, yeah, no courageous, and I think he's largely a weasel. But yeah, this was a pleasure.
Damn.
You can find me on Twitch, Cory Cambell 84, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram. It's Cory Cambell. That is my name. Okay, there's enough information on my social media that you can know my city, you can know my province. Okay, because yes, I will absolutely die for what I believe in and say it. But Nonfon, always a pleasure. Ali, always a pleasure. Dooby, always a pleasure. Gibbs, always a pleasure. And Lactoid, always a pleasure. Love you, Prime.
Thank you. And oh, wait a minute. $50. Hold on, no. $50 super chat.
To you, that's not to
It
me.
is not. It's not. Yo, $50
No.
super chat. Come on. Shirts
Wow.
off. Shirts off.
No.
Come
Do
on,
it
wait.
for the
Shirts off.
meme.
Shirts
I-
off.
no.
So
I'm
on
not
top
doing
of-
a shut off
on
for
top of
$50
being-
to
on top of
you.
being,
Yeah, to
you're,
me.
you're a
I said-
scammer.
You do your
Come on.
you do your shut off for your money
Yeah.
to you.
You
Yeah, hold on.
scam the
They
audience.
want to see.
I
you.
said a sufficient sub for me.
The audacity of you to scam
okay,
the
how about this?
audience.
Nice word choice.
If I take my shirt off, because I've done that before on stream, that was years ago. If I take my shirt off, will you take it off as well? And Cory, all three of us.
Absolutely,
No,
yeah.
look, I would need some kind of sub for me, and then I
I
would.
get a black chest in there too. Awesome.
Like,
Look at the courage on display.
This is
Look at the
This
courage
must
on
be a very
display.
exciting porn, let me tell
this
you.
$50 does come to you because it helps me do the reverie, right? And this is your favorite night
Right.
of the week, right? Like
Hello, reverse
said it before,
Oreo, let's get it.
You really enjoy being here, and I appreciate the fact that you enjoy it, right? The $50 helps make that happen. Thank you, Audacity. For the $50.
Look, I don't want to. I don't
want
want to take my shirt off, but like I said, I will do it if with sufficient donation to me. But I don't want to.
No, you're just saying sufficient. We don't even know
What
what
does
that
sufficient
even
mean?
means.
How
I
about
said sufficient.
How about I do
Sufficient.
it with you? Will that make you feel better? I'll do it right now with you. I'm the fattest one here. I
50?
actually have tits. And for
50.
free. Well, they already gave 50. I'll do it with you right now. Hold my hand, like come on.
I
Let's
apologize.
take our shirts off for
Audacity.
these men together.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Well, wait,
No, I
Corey,
gotta do it.
Corey,
Okay, I
will
gotta do
you
it
still
for
take your
50.
shirt off?
Yeah, of course.
50. One
Yeah.
second.
Yes.
1 second.
No. It's Lactoid. My deal
Oh,
was
I thought you were
Lactoid.
just
You're
doing
calling
it for
out
the free
Lactoid.
ski, for the love for the boys.
Standing off on my channel, you donate $20 to the Shrimp Welfare Project, and I put the shrimp costume on. That's what it's for. So,
Only if you take
Send
your
your
shirt off
link-
will you
your
get
send your
money.
link
This
says
is
it's full, by the
a
way.
strip club
Not
stream.
fun.
I can be naked under the
There we
shrimp
go.
costume. How about that?
Not fun. It said earlier when they did it that it was full. I don't know if you noticed.
I think he's just
Alright.
confused because we
So
reached the
Prime
original goal.
It's shirtless. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Right. Prime more bold.
Absolutely
than
more
Lactoid,
bold.
apparently. Again, Audacity, I do apologize. All right. Even though Lactoid is always here, like all the labor I put in for Lactoid, he doesn't want to show his appreciation at this point in time. Okay. All right. Lactoid doesn't actually want to follow through. Very cowardly. Like Cory said. Okay. Cory, do you want to
Very
take off your shirt?
anti-libertarian of you to put out a contract
sure,
and then
why
break
not?
it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Not living by your
Oh my
libertarian
God,
values.
Cory, fuck.
Wow.
Corey.
Look at
Oh,
Cory.
Those
We love
traps,
to see it.
they tell the future. He wakes up, he looks at his traps every morning, goes, "What do you guys
Ooh,
think?"
We love to see it.
He's
Cory.
ready.
Whoa, look at those shoulders. Oh my God, very sexy. We're
Cool. You
earning
should
that
just start doing the
$50.
shows like this. I think that.
I used to do my workouts. Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, Gibbs,
Lactoid.
Gibbs, you said
Lactoid.
Oh yeah, I mean, Lactoid. You want to do any Lactoid? Come on.
Lactoid.
Come on.
I've said.
Yeah, exactly.
I've said my
What
What
turn.
a masculine man. He's gonna.
Yeah, hold on.
Nonfon, I believe you're quite young. Okay,
Oh,
take
yeah.
take notes.
Dooby-
okay?
Dooby
Don't ever
losing his
listen to
mind right
anything
now.
about
Yeah.
Lactoid, about masculinity.
Yeah.
There we
Masculine
go.
glory.
We're gonna earn it. Okay,
Come on,
all right.
Lactoid. You ready?
Now, our friend Ali.
What happened?
What happened?
What do you guys
Ali,
want?
Right? Come on. We need those
This is really gay.
It's only gay if you look into the
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, we need those Lebanese chest hairs. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look at that. Look at these men. These champions, right? Here with their chest out. Yeah. Roaring.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
how we're
men
doing it,
slapping
all right?
me.
Yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it. Real men. Okay. That's non-fun. It's hard to make a request for him because he's
$5 for the Shrimp
non-fun.
Welfare Project. I'll do it. Anyone in chat or one of you guys, okay? $5 to the
For the
shrimp.
service of providing the revelry to you, and you'll be invited again, Non-Fun. I think you're doing a great job here. Non-Fun, can you take off your would you be so willing to take off your shirt?
Like I said, $5 to the shrimp, buddy. That's all it takes.
Oh my God. Come on. Hey, we don't know what everyone do. Come on. Non-Fun. You can do this. You can do it. Don't be a Lactoid.
I have some
Do it.
obligation
Yeah,
to try to
Lactoid.
raise money for the shrimp, all right?
Oh
He's
my
not- he's
God.
stand-up
Okay.
business with
All
cause.
right. So, I mean, we can clearly separate the boys from the men here. All right. There's a clear denomination. Yeah. All right. And if our friend Dooby could, I know from personal experience, he likes to say
Lactoid doesn't have an excuse
other
now. He
men.
just got a bunch of
Ooh.
donations. He has to do it.
Oh,
Was
did
it
you get a
50?
bunch of donations, Lactoid?
Yeah, someone gifted
Hey,
me a lot of
just wait,
subs.
You got 20 tier 1 gifted.
Oh,
How much money is that?
One gift.
That is
20 times 5,
20.
that's 100, right?
No, it's gonna be 20 times 275.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
Twitch takes a cut, but
How
yeah.
much is that?
Hey.
Is that 50?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the
Yeah, it should be close to it.
Yeah, yeah,
You said 275 each.
That's what you should get in the revenue. Yeah.
yeah.
Not counting the benefit you get from
Lactoid.
the promotion.
All right.
Yeah.
Is the
There
cam
we
going
go.
off?
There we go. All right.
We don't get
All
the
right.
show, Lactoid. I thought usually when you're at the club you pay for the show.
That's right. Yeah, I gotta do the dance.
Well, I think
Okay,
someone
yeah,
gave me
alright.
10 subs, which I will, I guess, donate to
honor.
the shrimp on behalf of them.
Okay.
So,
It's time. It's time. All right. Hey, ladies, this is what we provide, right? Unfortunately, we had a bigger email audience. We barely have any. But
That one of you
ladies,
out there.
So Audacity, thank you for setting this off. I do appreciate you for the $50. Awfully kind of you, Audacity. So shout out to that individual. Oh, okay. Hold on. We're gonna take Audacity's thing down for a second. Oh, we gotta get more of that skin. Oh yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it.
Good
okay.
on you.
Oh,
Lactoid.
it's finally done. Yeah. Okay. We
I'm sad.
provide. We
Oh,
provide.
another sub got you. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Any subs to me? Any subs to me? No.
We do have a shared hype train, level 7 right now.
What is that? I don't know what that means. Does that mean I get any money?
You get different emotes, and then it makes you more likely to promote you to like other stuff, like the Kappa trains that you get, which give you something specific. So
Okay, so I don't get money. That's okay then. Never mind.
It
All right, and
leads
then-
to more
Here we
money.
go,
I said
Dooby.
earlier. I said earlier that you guys are getting like really gay with the fashion shit, like, all the labels and shit. And at the end of the stream, you guys were all shirtless. Like I don't know what the fuck's happening here.
We're comfortable with. Hey, listen. If,
No
if,
labels,
Fabian,
bud.
if Fabian was here, he would tell you this is part of becoming in a fraternal society where men can be men.
Or men can be men.
Yeah.
That's
well,
not
I'm
what's
not
going.
bashing it. Okay, you guys want to get naked with each other? That's fine. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we provide. So we'll continue out with the outros here. All right. This has been a weird
My
day
shirt's
so
going
far.
on now.
Okay. No. Why? Hold on. We can wait till the end. Come on. You're not cold there. You're good. You're good. Put on a blanket, okay? Put on a blanket. You're good. Okay.
Oh
All
Lord.
right. We're almost done. So,
Yeah?
Dooby, thank you for being here. Thank you for stripping, I guess. And thank you for being you, Dooby.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Dooby. I run the politics server on Discord, discord.gg/politics. And yeah, you'll find me there.
Always underwhelming, but I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's go to our friend Ali. Ali, thank you. All right, thank you for sharing those beautiful Lebanese chest hairs. All right. Thank you for joining in, being part of the crew, right, and not having to be harassed into it, like Lactoid. Thank you for coming through and being part of the whole panel conversation.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it, and it's I think you guys are being honest, Lactoid and Gibbs. You guys are being honest in your perception that you guys do think Charlie Kirk is a moderate, and you do believe that, you know, the Republicans see him as a moderate, so on and so forth. But then I think that's the issue, right? If the issue on the left isn't dishonesty, but it's perception, to the point where like you see Charlie Kirk as a moderate, and then when I ask you, you think the alternative to Charlie Kirk would be a Rachel Maddow, someone whose name isn't going to be as known as recognizable as Charlie Kirk. When I went out last week, the local vape shop, people were crying about Charlie Kirk. There were like random aunts on Facebook that I saw, like just going to like memorials in Michigan about him. This guy's name was like pretty fucking out there, and he had some pretty strong influence. And the influence was further right than what I guess we perceive as moderates, right? Because then my argument back was, well, then Hassan is a moderate if Charlie is a moderate. And no, your comparison was Rachel Maddow, which I thought was dishonest, right? But I believe you. I just think that perception is fucking insane. And so that if your perception is that like Charlie is moderate, then all the criticism of Charlie that you've seen this week would have been the moderate left. It wouldn't have been the crazier radical left. These are the response to his rhetoric. So these were the people he was battling with, the far right versus the far left.
Okay, thank you so much. And finally, Nonfon, right, also needed to be harassed. and cajoled.
Only a little.
Only a little. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Much appreciated. Handsome guy, handsome bastard. Sean, thank you for gifting membership on YouTube. Awfully kind of you. Thank you, as always. But yeah, thank you, Nonfon, for joining in, for being part of this. We actually did this one time before. Just putting out there, we kind of did this one time before. We had, like, way back when I first started this channel, we had like a bunch of people on screen topless. Even some people who may not have shared my gender. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't look at their genitals, so I wouldn't know. I can't be sure. But in any case, that was an exciting day. But anyway, thank you, Nonfon, for being part of the whole thing.
I know I don't always come here, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to show up to the ones that I'm more interested in. You should check out my YouTube channel if you enjoyed anything I had to say. I've been busy defending the glory of capitalism to all those people who are on the Jubilee video with Patrick Bet-David, who are arguing against it.
Jubilee Therapy by Nonfon.
Yeah, I know. I've talked to like 7 of them at this point. I think I have one more lined up to defend capitalism too. But yeah, that's what you can find all that stuff on my YouTube channel, where I also stream, and I multi-stream to Twitch, Twitter, and Kick at Nonfon420. You should come check me out if you want to help me do an IRL stream at the Unfuck America tour.
Okay, love to see it. Much appreciated to everybody. We're gonna raid out. All right. This has been we got a lot of viewers. Got shout out to our friend Gibbs, who made us do the link thing.
Yeah,
but hey guys, we got a lot more viewers. Hey, if you haven't done so yet, follow our channels. All our individual channels are part of the shared group chat there. Follow me at Prime. I'm not sure how that works. How can you follow individual?
They'll be able to click your channel and follow you.
Yeah.
Okay. It shows all the different people in the chat.
Follow me, PrimeCayes, right? I put this on. It's a lot of fun. We do these things. If you found that at all entertaining, come back in the future. We'd love to have you, right? Follow our friend Lactoid. Follow our friend Gibbs, and everyone else here, including Cory, Nonfon, Dooby. Go to his Discord channel, and our friend Ali. I am going to rate out to, let's see if we can find a woman. Let's see. Woman, is there any ladies out here? Okay, this is woman who's just laying down and doing literally nothing.
Nice. With 1,000 viewers, I'm sure.
Seems like the right person to rate on out to.
Does anyone have a suggestion? I'll do that.
No, that's the proper moral choice.
You could raid Enemy Charlie or Why Not.
Oh, okay. Charlie, what's her name?
Enemy Charlie.
I said enemy.
One word.
Okay.
Enemy like a foe.
Yeah. Okay. 451 people. Okay. Yeah, she's got a lot of people. All right. We'll rate out to Enemy Charlie. Again, thanks everyone for being so kind. And we will be back in the future. Go.
Guys, I gotta go as well. Bye. I'll be good.
Okay. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Fun time. If you want to chat with me live, sub here or go to Nonfon420 on Twitch or Kick via the links below. Once again, please like and sub to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support me, and I'll make sure to reply to any question you ask. See you guys next time.